The manhwa begins with the hero knocking on the door of a room in the Magic Tower. The hero name is Esther, who has snow-white hair and golden eyes, says she has heard praise about a genius mage who appears once every 100 years. Surely, this can't be the kid, right? The protagonist of this story is a student named Lynn, with brown hair and black eyes. He didn't reply to the hero and continued, arranging magic books on the shelf. The hero became a little nervous and asked, "Hey you, can he hear her?" The protagonist replied, "He is not a genius or a kid. His name is Lynn." The hero became happy and remarked, "Is he really the youngest 4-star archmage in the Empire's history? Looks like he came to the right place." And she jokingly remarked, "But he is a kid, though. Hard to call him a genius mage when he still need diapers. If he join her party, she will change them for him every day." Upon hearing Esther's comment, Lynn's anger flared, and he instinctively cast a spell called Fireball. However, she became nervous, and she realized she was wrong. She was only joking, but her attempt to backtrack led to a clumsy collision with the shelf, sending books tumbling down on her. Lynn, now confused, halted his spell casting and watched as Esther struggled amidst the books. Despite the mishap, he couldn't help but chuckle at the situation. It was in that moment that Lynn found himself intrigued by Esther. The hero stepped forward, revealing her identity as Esther Alter Chiropin. She declared she is a fake warrior of the Radiant Dragon Church. She explained, a fake warrior was someone enhanced through bodily modifications but with a limited lifespan. She asked him to help her defeat the abyss, creeping from the South Pole. In other words, she invited him to join her hero party. Two well-known individuals were already part of Esther's party: the Empire's renowned archer, Kais, and the Fire Dragon's priestess from the Republic of Dragon, Freed. Lynn stated he don't want to die. Esther asked who wants to die. Then Lynn inquired, are the other two as interesting as her? Esther thought for a second and noted they're just as crazy as she is. But there's something even more fun. Lynn asked, what is it? She replied the world resonated strangely with her, someone who had been studying magic in the Magic Tower after being rescued from the slums. He had a goal to become the highest-ranked mage in the Empire, a 7-star mage. They said that if he reached the 7th star, he can see the truth of the world. He wanted to reach that realm where no one else had gone. Living here, reading magic books for the rest of his life wouldn't be bad either. But to master 7-star magic, he needed to know about the world outside the Magic Tower. However, aimless travel seemed too bothersome. He felt, does he really need to? Then, this clumsy hero came and told him to save the world. The sudden proposal was enough to draw him out into the outside world. Although he didn't have a burning sense of justice to save the world, he took her hand and joined the hero party. Kais was an archer whose accuracy dropped drastically without drinking, and he was mute. Freed, the priestess, was a serious chain smoker. She said as the Fire Dragon's priestess, he should at least be able to cast a breath spell, Lynn thought, blowing black smoke in his face and, laughing like a madwoman, Esther attempted to lift their spirits as a menacing monster emerged. Without hesitation, they both sprang into action. Kais swiftly darted forward, distracting the creature with her agility, and skillfully blinded it with his arrow. In a coordinated effort, Freed then cast a potent spell, swiftly vanquishing the monster before them. Lynn thought still, both were undeniably skilled. They were strong, the ferocious monsters they encountered on their journey, and the abyss, minions invading from the north, were no match for them. Esther often joked with him, saying, Lynn, don't he dare fall for her, even though she is quite charming, and ask Lynn, after all this is over, does he want to go on a journey with her? Lynn, she is really worried that he is so innocent, he will be tricked by another girl. 5 years passed like that, as their journey to save the world from the abyss approached its end. But his body showed signs of erosion. It was the result of being exposed to enemy attacks for 5 years. Before the final battle against the abyss, he is dying, consumed by the soul-poisoning poison. His life is about to end. Esther's voice echoed, urgently, Lynn to wake up. She then turned to Freed, pleading, please do something. Freed's response was somber, she cannot break this curse. There's no way healing it. Esther's cry pierced the air, no, Lynn must not die. And Lynn noted he didn't want to die. Esther affirmed she understands and she will find a solution, so just hold on. But Lynn stated don't worry too much. He has made this Lord's Filter tiny reversal, an immortality spell carved over his heart. A magic that would put his body into a dormant state and heal him. He didn't know how long it would take to revive, but this was the only option left. He will come back, so win for him please. Esther stopped crying and exclaimed he should promise. Lynn, by all means, let's meet again. Promise her he will become back. Then, Together the four of them will go see the world. She will stay by his side until he wake up. Lynn remarked. Yeah, he promised. His consciousness was being pulled into the cold grip of death, a floating feeling and emptiness, as if sinking into a marsh. And the mission for the world. Did he fail to see the truth from the 7-star magic system? This journey of traveling the vast world together ends here, in front of the army of the abyss, surging forward with shrieks. The sight before him was all darkness. When he was tired of floundering in the darkness, his eyes fluttered open, he heard a voice addressing him as Rain, inquiring about his well-being with concern. Lynn quickly interjected, affirming that he was fine, referring to her as Mother. However, Lynn's expression shifted to one of shock, as he realized he had no mother. He was an orphan. His confusion deepened as he glanced around, pondering where he is. His mother sighed and asked, "Why is he acting like this?" "This is the Heroes' Square in front of the Vatican. There's a statue commemorating the Esther party, isn't there?" He immediately turned around and saw the statue of himself and his companions placed before him, complete with details of their lifespans. Then he asked, "What year is it now?" She asked, "What's wrong?" The way he is talking suddenly scares her. He asked again, "What year is it?" She replied, "It's the year 1418 of the Teresia calendar." Hearing this, his eyes widened in shock as he thought, have he been reborn? Or has his memory been superimposed on someone else's body? The sensations in this body are strange. What on earth has happened? Esther's laughter, Keith's drunken rambling, Fried's cigarette smoke. Were those days really 300 years ago? And he asked, did they win the final battle? Lynn thought it was a meaningless question. If they had won, a statue would have been constructed. That's why there's such a peaceful sky now. She replied, "Why is he asking something so obvious? By the way, it's a pity. They say that if he go to the Vatican Tower now, he can see Lord Lynn's frozen remains." Lynn thought he understand. So, does this mean he have possessed someone else's body? She continued to explain. Lady Esther stayed by Lord Lynn's side until the day she passed away. It's a truly beautiful and sad connection. Then she asked, "What do you think?" As she turned towards him, he burst into laughter. Observing this, she asked, "Why is he laughing?" "It's a sad story." But Lynn thought, no, it's just incredible that she kept her promise. Lynn approached the statue while reflecting, but someone failed to keep his promise. He didn't fulfill it, as tears filled his eyes. Afterward, as he acquainted himself with this new world, he thought he don't know how those three spoke of him, but he had become a historic figure. The Emperor of the Empire personally installed a monument for him, and many Mage Towers and Mage families honored him as a saint. But what the past 300 years left him was only magic. The memories of traveling to many places, and the faces of his comrades who smiled brightly in those memories, and those memories had become legends. One day, Esther said that memories only become memories when they're shared with someone. So his memories are not yet memories. Until he die and meet them, they remain unshared. These memories, which he must live alone, are like unanswered echoes. Currently, his mother approached him with a teacup in hand. He accepted it with a smile, pondering now they are gone. But they left this world behind. So what should he do now? Recalling something Esther had said in the past, he thought there's still work to be done. The Holy Human Empire divided the Mage class into 7 levels. 1st star Common Mage, Band or An. 2nd star Intermediate Mage, Limites. 3rd star High Mage, Atlas. 4th star Elite Mage, Glottos. 5th star Grand Mage, Acquizzard. 6th star Sage, Rampage. 7th star Sage, Shin Sage. Ultimately, he reached the level of a 5-star mage. Only 2 people in the history of the Empire have reached the 6-star level, known as Sage. They could be said to have reached the end of truth. If he hadn't left with Esther, he would have probably reached the 6-star level when he grew old and died. But he would have regretted it all his life. Even if someone turned back time, he would leave to travel with her again and again. But now Esther is gone. He hoped this world is filled with laughter. The world they desperately protected together. Is it really the way she wanted it to be? Esther said that those who reach the end of magic, they can see the true face of the world. So in this life, he must become a 7-star mage. To escape this sorrow and emptiness, he will push himself. He remembered a past moment when Esther said, "Lynn, this way. Look at this flower." Fried commented, "Showing this to a charmless brat like Lynn seems too romantic, doesn't it?" Keith remained silent as always. At that time Lynn said, he did rather read one more magic book than look at this. What's so great about this flower field? He reflected there was always grumbling from him. The party members were uniformly full of quirkiness, but he really enjoyed traveling with them all. Esther, Keith, and Fried, goodbye now. The dead remain in the past and cannot go together. The living, following the flow of time, must move towards the future. And moving forward, let's call him Rain from now on. Thus began his second life. Rain recalled what Esther once said. Lynn, have he ever wished he had a family? Lynn replied no, he don't even know his mom's face. He grew up in the northern slums. If the dean of the Osirius school hadn't noticed his magical talent and taken him in, he would have lived as an orphan and died on the streets. He doesn't even know what family he is from. He is not interested in it either. Fried put her hand on his shoulder and said, poor thing. Lynn quickly moved away, saying, well, even if he had a family, he wouldn't know how to treat them, so he doesn't need a family or anything. Esther remarked, it's not that complicated, he just needs to cherish them a lot. He is a kind-hearted kid, he will do great. At the moment, a maid woke him up, saying, young Master Rain, it's morning. Since he is up, she will prepare breakfast for him. Rain stretched his body and reflected. The memories of his previous life returned to this 9-year-old spoiled brat only 20 days ago. This boy Rain is the eldest son of the Ludwick family, one of the 5 great mage families of the empire. He, who was an orphan, has been reborn into a noble family this time. Therefore, to adapt to this life, he had to work tirelessly. The maid welcomed him, and his mother remarked, he is already up. Perfect timing. Can he go tell his father that breakfast is ready? He'll be pleased if he go. He agreed and went to his father's room. His father's name was Kavin Ludwick. He asked Rain, did he not sleep well? His complexion doesn't look good. He still seems tired from the journey. Rain said, father, they said that breakfast is ready. His father laughed and noted, so his son came here just for that. Thank you, but he should go eat first. Rain asked, isn't he eating? While seeing a magic circle formation page on the table, he then asked, is this a magic? His father replied, yes, the thesis presentation is next week, so he is in a bit of a hurry. Eating makes his mind foggy, so he tried to focus and get as much done as he can in the clear morning hours. Looking closely at it, Rain asked, is that where he is stuck? Want him to help? Father inquired, is he here to cheer him on? Rain said no, he wants to help solve the magic circle. Father stated help is welcome, but if he end up being late for breakfast, Mom will scold him, so go ahead, eat his breakfast. But Rain started to explain, magic is about expressing natural laws numerically, and then twisting them. The Go rune makes the equation more complex and clashes with the Cha rune, so it's best to replace it with the Gu rune. And then, using the imperial equation 41-2, he can derive the answer right away. In surprise, his father asked, is such a method possible? He thought this was a difficult problem that even the Empire's top scholars couldn't solve, and it actually was a high-level spell cast about 200 years ago. If this spell is re-established, it could protect countless people from natural disasters like floods or landslides. How did Rain, who has just mastered basic magic, do this? Judging by his proficiency in basic magic, Rain was quite ordinary. However, considering that he is of the Ludwick family's mage lineage, it meant that he did not inherit the magical talent. His thoughts were interrupted by Rain saying, now can he have breakfast with them? His father hugged him saying, yes, let's eat together. Rain's family was small. He had a mother, father, and a 6-year-old sister. The little girl peeking through the door was his sister Sari. With shimmering black hair like silk and red eyes, she was a cute girl who inherited the physical traits of the Ludwick family just like Rain. As he turned around and looked towards her, she became frightened and ran away. He thought it was understandable. In this memory, Rain was never kind to Sari. Rather than being cold, he was simply indifferent to everything. As he read books, he recalled what Esther had said to him, he should cherish them. How can he just run away? In this world, it seems like everyone is always busy, doesn't it? He is a kind-hearted kid, so he will do great. She believed in him. Recalling all that, he became frustrated and closed the book and said, come here. He will teach her magic. Or does she want to play together? She ran away again and he thought, kids are too difficult to deal with. His thoughts were interrupted as she came back with a book in hand. He looked at the book and said, Basic Formulas for 1-Star Magic. She is 6 and already reading such a book? As he looked at her smiling face, he recalled the memory when Esther said, do he know the meaning of this flower's name? Let her tell him the story of that cliff. Lynn always complained about being treated like a child by Esther, but in fact, he loved those moments more than anything. He asked which part doesn't she get? She marked the point that she didn't understand, and he stated, so she didn't understand it from the start. She replied, that's right. Rain said, okay, he will explain. Have she ever played house? She replied affirmatively. He explained, a thatched roof house, a brick house, Depending on what kind of house you build, the materials change, right? In magic, the magic square serves that role. The magic square's shape determines the magic's attribute. Drawing a triangle makes it fire attribute. Drawing a fan makes it wind attribute. So this magic square is for wind attribute magic. The next step is runes. Runes determine the effect of the magic. Runes are magical words. Yo means bind, while ho means scatter. For example, engraving the rune Yo on a triangular magic square makes it a fire attribute. Binding spell. The actual operation uses math formulas. She asked, "What is math?" He became nervous, thinking how he would explain that, but he continued with his explanation. For Yo, she needs a quadratic equation. But before that, let's start with addition and subtraction. Seeing that, two maids talked to each other. The one in the brown uniform said, "Master Rain has completely changed." The maid in the blue uniform remarked, "Before, even when Lady Sari cried, he wouldn't care. Since returning from the square in front of the Vatican, even his gaze has changed." A little while later, as their parents came to study room, his mother exclaimed, "She wants to capture this scene in a painting." Rain's father remarked, he agreed, but by the time the painter comes, the children might be awake. Besides, Sari is so shy that it might be too much. As he looked at the table, he saw magic circle formations drawn on the pages. He said he's teaching Sari magic. Since coming back from the square, Rain seems like a completely different person. She noted his tone has suddenly become more mature as well. Could it be he's been possessed by the abyss? He replied, "That's not it. Like father, like son." He had a similar experience. He was a student. He had the honor of meeting Lord Lynn. At the time, he was bragging about becoming a 3-star mage. But Lord Lynn rose to 5 stars during wartime. Living in the peaceful era the heroes created, he realized how complacent he was. Perhaps Rain had similar thoughts. She asked, "Was Lord Lynn really frozen in time?" He replied, "Indeed. He wielded ice magic so perfectly that he remained as he was at 18. She questioned, "Tell her more." He responded by saying, "Even if he wanted to, he can't because he don't know anything beyond that." By the way, there was Lady Esther's magic within the ice. Only Lord Lynn and Lady Esther could awaken it. He suspected it's a letter because she surely believed that he would return someday. He remarked, "By the way, he has something to tell her." Rain seems to be a genius. Moreover, one who might reach the level of a sage. He solved the magic square he has been struggling with for over a year, only by looking at it this morning. She exclaimed, "Goodness, so that's why he could come for breakfast today?" He replied, "Yes. Although it might be a bit early, it's time to teach him their family's magic. Rain might become a thieving mage who reads and steals all magic. It's only allowed to those of the Ludwick family, the bloodline limited magic. But he is not sure how much he can teach him." She asked, "Is it that difficult?" He replied, "Yes, it's no ordinary task." She asked, "So how will he do it?" He replied, "He has an idea." Next morning, Rain think under the blue sky, a dazzling tulip field stretches into the horizon. This is Sayas-Tulika. This beautiful region, famous for tulips, had 1/3 of its land owned by the Ludwick family. The weather sure is amazing. If you want to go far, he need mid to long-term goals. Especially if it's on the path to truth, there's a lot to do to become a 7-star mage. No matter how young he is, he can't waste time. Let's summon the guide first. As he tried to do that, his sister came and asked, "Brother, what is he doing?" He sighed and replied he was about to summon the magic guide. She asked, "Guide, what is it?" He then asked, should he make one for her too? She jumped with happiness and replied yes. Meanwhile, seeing her, Rain think looks like she likes it. But for a 6-year-old, her speech is a bit awkward. He wonder if something's wrong. He explained to her, the shape of the magic circle is a multi-square. The runes to inscribe are Ju, Yu, Du, and Je. This is high-level magic containing 4 different elements, so only a 4-star mage can handle it. Right now, only 10 mages in this country can use this. As the spell activate, blue light emerges, but blood coming out from Rain, noise, and eyes. He think is it still too much for 4-star magic? It's a good thing it was a guidance spell. If it had been combat magic, he would have died. This body is garbage. And stated, "Come here, Rudian." A butterfly-like thing appears and sit on Sari finger. Then a system window pop up showing information. It quantifies the user's abilities and detects potential magic power. And Rain explains this is Rudian's function. It tells her what to learn and train. The rune Ju in the guidance spell informs about basic magic power, and the rune Yu informs about magic utilization. In short, it's filled with the best runes for learning. It may seem simple, but it's 4-star magic. And he asked, "Does she like it?" She replied, "Yes, she likes it very much." He remarked, "Now, go study over there." As she leaves, realization hit him he need to recover his magic power first, before he calls the second Rudian later. As he recovers his magic power, he summons Rudian for himself. Rudian shows quantifying physical condition. Magic power 3024. Seeing system window, Rain thought it's below the level of a novice mage, and order Rudian to calculation magic and stamina next. Windows show, magic power is 77 and stamina is 64. See all this he think he have a long way to go. Then Rudian display another window showing information, detecting bloodline limited magic manual, judged as learnable. Bell Sidious and Bell Curious. See that his eyes become widened in surprise and he think bloodline limited magic. This body wasn't total garbage. When he was traveling with Esther, a young mage came to him. He wanted to prove himself as the best mage of the empire and join the party instead of him. But his skills were nothing special. Yeah, his skills were nothing special. But his eyes gave him a hard time. With those eyes he saw through all the magic that I used, and only launched counterattacks. Now he understand, that was the power of the Ludwick family's bloodline limited magic Bell Sidious. By just watching the flow of magic, he could tell what magic the opponent was using. If their magic skill is equal, the one who counters better has the advantage. And Bell Curious, a legendary eye that only 3 people have ever opened in the Empire's magic history. If Bell Sidious is the power to discern the opponent's magic, Bell Curious is the power to steal it. The reason the Ludwick family is known as thieving mages is because of that eye. The childhood goal is now set. Without magic power and stamina, he can't become a grand mage. A little while later, as Rain was in the study room, his father asked, is he interested in their family's bloodline limited magic? Rain thought, what's this? Was he watching? His father continued by saying, it's a bit early, but do he want to try learning it? Rain think it wouldn't hurt to learn the theory in advance, and he replied yes. His father remarked, then from today onwards, Ellen will be his tutor. Only while he is at the academy though. When he returned from the academy, he will personally teach him. He confusing asked Ellen? His father explained she's an excellent person who teaches students at Delon, has great magical talent, and above all, is the Aunt Ellen who loves her nephew more than anyone else in this world. He met her when he was 6. Ellen dresses in black outfit enter the room and she closely looks at Rain, and she stated, this is ridiculous. Does the genius Professor Ellen Ludwick have to come in person, just for the sake of teaching this uncute child? She grabbed his head and asked, well then, is he ready? She asked, do he know who she is? He replied, she is Aunt Ellen. She note from now on, address her as Professor Ellen Ludwick, the great genius. She can't stand slow learners who don't understand things the first time. Don't ever ask a question again after she has taught him once. Got it? That's how his bloodline limited magic training began. She explained bloodline limited magic isn't recorded to prevent theft by other wizards. Therefore, he must meet with a family wizard and directly receive the knowledge into his mind. Let her demonstrate, so pay attention. As she opened her eyes, a crimson red mana flow out from it. However, Rain, think this feeling. It's the same as those eyes from back then. She stated, this is Bell Sidious. He said, she is awesome auntie. She excited remarks, how is it? Cool, right? To use this, he need to compute 3 spells simultaneously. She said 3. Someone like him could only dream of this. He replied, he can do it. She note he is so arrogant. Ellen, seemingly satisfied with his reaction, wrote down several formulas. It was an analysis of magic. He exclaimed, it's more theoretical than he expected. And he think if the founder of the Ludwick family didn't place genetic restrictions, so Lynn could have used it too. His thoughts were interrupted by Ellen, saying it's too difficult to even attempt. He has no idea what it means, right? He replied, no, he just need time to roughly organize it. She remarked, how frustrating. Well, she has no choice, she will make a special exception. However, he stated, thank you for guiding him, but he will handle it from here on. She asked, wait, what did he say? He doesn't need her guidance? You don't ignore her. But Rain continued to ignore her. She became frustrated and stated, fine, do as he please. As if he did ever succeed, she would not teach him later even if he begged in tears. As he continued his studies and worked on various formation, she reviewed each one upon completion. After checking his work, she handed him a new problem, her face partially hidden behind a book. He think, what's this? Is this how modern magic education works? Or is she testing him? Meanwhile, his mother looks at both of them while hiding nearby. Then she note let's take a break. As she leaves the room, his mother approaches him and asks isn't Aunt Ellen a bit unusual? He replied yes, quite. She said his aunt isn't very honest. In truth, she's eager to teach him everything. So even if he already knows something, ask her a lot of questions. She was just like that when she used to follow his father and her around. She was so adorable. However, Rain think has the meaning of adorable changed in 300 years? After the break, as he continue his work, while she glances at Rain work. But as she noticed that Rain is looking at her, she immediately covers her face with the book. He thinks she is really annoying and more bothersome than 6-year-old Sari. Then he said, Aunt, he can't understand this part at all. Could he please explain it? She immediately turned around and shouted he doesn't even know this. Their family is doomed. Bring it here. And ask what part didn't he get it exactly? He pointed it out where he has problem. She demonstrate how he can solve it and remark, see it's solved right away. She continued to explain if he used this formula here, he can solve it much faster. He didn't even know that? In response he apologized to her. She stated he doesn't know anything. What have he been doing until the age of 9? He replied she is absolutely right. And asked then how should he solve this? She notes she guessed there's no choice. She will make an exception for him. And then he asked one question after another, and she answered him. Ellen's teaching was consistently like this. She required quite a bit of effort, but thanks to her, he significantly reduced the time needed to learn the theory and gained practical experience. On the 10th day of receiving Ellen's guidance, he felt a burning pain in his retina. With the sensation of all the blood in his body rushing to his head, the world slowly turned blood red. That's when it happened. The eyes that shone red were engraved with the mark of death. All information about everything in the universe is being directly transmitted to the brain in the form of formulas. Is this how it would feel to be the creator of the world? He then cast fireball spell while thinking let's see how does magic look like. He understands back then, in the young wizard's eyes, all his magic must have appeared like numbers, and he stated it's truly amazing. Look at him. Her eyes became widened and shocked, and she remarked he achieved that in just 10 days. She think even after receiving special education, it took her 7 years to acquire Bel Sidious. They said it would take 70 years to master Bel Curious, and he achieved that in just 10 days. From a blank slate, not knowing anything, to performing multicasting with general magic. He might rival Lynn, who is called a prodigy of multicasting. A little while later, his father asked so that's how it is to awaken Bel Sidious in just 10 days. She remarked Appa, thanks to Rain, the Ludwick family might become the leading magical family. He's really amazing. As she leaves the room, he thinks as a father, he have nothing left to teach him. He called the butler named Yed. Butler Yed asked yes, master command him. Kavin orders send a message to father. Butler asked he mean to the former head of the family? Kavin asked is there a problem? Butler replied no, that's not what he meant. Kavin continued by saying write this to his father, please guide your grandson who has innate talent. He respectfully requests this of him. Butler replied he really go through fire and water for his son. He will proceed as commanded, Your Excellency. Spring ended, and a brief summer arrived. This summer seems to last about a year. Dark clouds covered the continent, pouring rain day after day. It's summer. That summer, he was incredibly busy. During the day, he learned household magic from Ellen, and taught basic magic to Sari whenever he had the chance. And at night, he focused on physical and magical strength training. The development of modern magic he learned from Ellen and books was truly remarkable. For someone from 300 years ago like him, it was shocking. He think to simplify such complex formulas to this extent. The activation time has been reduced, and the power has increased significantly. The level of magic has greatly improved compared to 300 years ago. He might lose against a modern 4-star mage. Magic has grown over time. It's absolutely impossible to become a 7-star mage in this era with his current state. Much stronger power and knowledge is needed. A little later at the dining table, he said, Father, he has a request. Please send him to Mage City. It should take about 3 years. Sari asked where is he going? He replied he is thinking of going to Golden Rose in Mage City. The best magic university, Layton, is there. And asked his father, will send him right? Father stated, that's not possible. Think of his age. He is only 10 years old. It's too early for him to leave home. Children of magical families enroll into Layton when they turn 16. It's not too late to go to Mage City then. And another thing. A very important appointment is already scheduled. This is a letter sent by his father, your grandfather. As Ellen heard that, she became surprised and started coughing up. She tried to speak, Her talk were interrupted by Cavan saying wipe her mouth before she speak. Rain think grandfather, could it be? But his thoughts were interrupted by his father saying, there are only 3 in their Ludwick family, who are awakeners of Bel Curious. He think he was right, Bel Curious awakener, Scalzi Ludwick. Cavan remarked grandfather will personally guide him in Bel Curious. He asked really? Cavan replied yes, so Rain you must first visit grandfather. A few days later, as he arrived at his grandfather mansion, his father leaves him behind, saying he will go ahead to greet him for a moment. A little later, as he entered his grandfather's room, his grandfather immediately noticed him, and enchanted a spell on his hand. Felling the present of the spell, Rain think what is he thinking? Regaining his composure, Rain think let's stop thinking and just do it. And Rain also ready his spell, so he can fend off any attack. Meanwhile as his grandfather focused his eyes on his spell, the spell that Rain prepared disappeared immediately. He confusingly looks towards his hand. His grandfather remarked this is the Bel Curious. It can control visible magic at will. Rain exclaimed wow, that's awesome. His grandfather laughed and asked do you want to try it too? He replied yes. His father breathed out sigh of relief. His grandfather continued with his explanation. Mastering Bel Curious isn't the end. To use it properly, the caster must fully understand it. What level is he at now? Rain replied he can barely perform a high-speed calculation of a 3-star spell. Actually, he can handle up to 5-star. His grandfather asked a 3-star spell? Impressive. It's almost astonishing. Even so, Bel Curious requires tremendous magic power. He is still a long way off at his current state. Rain stated but it's just a long way. It's not impossible, right? Grandpa, teach him the path to that level. Grandfather remarked his training will be quite tough. Rain replied that's how he learned properly. Grandfather note his initial greeting was too rough. He apologized and he sincerely welcomed them both. Cavan after confirming Rain's aptitude, let's have a drink together. Cavan immediately turned around and replied yes father. A few days later, as his grandfather said he must be able to use Bel Curious freely. Now, read the spell quickly, don't miss it. Rain replied yes. His grandfather note is he just going to stand there and watch the opponent's spell activate? Move quickly, and he think truly remarkable. Talent. If he teach one thing, he grasps 100, no 1,000. A genius who learns in a day what would take a month for others. Now, all that's left is to master the use of the eyes and grow his magic. Then he exclaimed in training, he must risk his life to grow significantly. Rain replied he understand, Grandpa. His grandfather remarked he will fire a fireball now. If he can't dodge he will die. And he launched the fireball spell at him. And Rain tried to use Bel Sidious. As he doesn't dodge, his grandfather said hurry out of the way. Meanwhile Rain think by interpreting the opponent's magic with Bel Sidious and manipulating it with Bel Curious. He think Bel Curious has been activated. The universe is converted into equations and delivered directly to brain. Now modify the formulas in front of him as he wish. The magic array consists of 2 triangles. The assigned rune symbol is the formulaic rotation. The size is 17 axles. The range is 23 kilometers. The solution to the equation is an imaginary root, and the fireball attack disappears completely. His grandfather became surprised. As he about to fall, his grandfather grabbed him. Rain asked Grandpa, is it done now? Grandfather replied yes. Well done. Now, he just need to enhance his magic power. He can hardly believe it. At 14, he has awakened Bel Curious. He barely reached that level at 39. This boy could rewrite the Empire's history. A little while later, Grandfather remarked he won't interfere with whatever life he choose. But when he turns 16 make sure to knock on the door of Delon. However Rain think the Magic University Delon? Honestly, he is not interested. He continue with his explanation if he graduate at the top of Delon, he will have the chance to meet Archmage Lynn. Then Rain replied okay. And then Rain remarked but he is not really curious. Grandfather replied he felt the same. But hero Esther left a letter. Isn't he curious about its content? Rain think what, Esther left one for him. Grandfather continue, no one at his age has awakened Bel Curious before. With his abilities, he should be able to read the letter. At that time, he was stunned and could only listen blankly. In hindsight that was the beginning. Yes. This is the story of a journey retracing the footsteps of former comrades. Following Esther's letter, Rain remarked there's about half a year left until the Delon entrance exam. He will take this opportunity to learn about the world and visit various places as he heads south. His father replied yes. Do well and come back, Rain. Is he planning to stay in the Magic City even after the exams? Rain said yes. It's a place where all knowledge gathers. The notoriously difficult Delon entrance exam is held at the end of the year, and those who pass start their first semester in March. His mother asks, is he sure about this? She is worried about him traveling alone without any guards. His father replied, Rain's skills are already exceptional, and there won't be any danger if he followed the national road. Rain thinks someday, when he look back, will they be able to call this conversation a memory? At the 15th day of the journey, the Holy Human Empire's southern Richland, Jerem region. In a small town, there were numerous inns and taverns, and curiously, all the people passing by were wearing bamboo hats. A little later, Rain asked, why are they wearing bamboo hats? The person replied, kid, don't he know the Lynn caravan? Rain asked, what do he mean by Lynn caravan? The person replied, he looks smart, but he don't know much. Long ago, their first leader received help from the archmage Lynn, so they wear bamboo hats as a sign of gratitude. Impressive, right? It's a trading group with such a grand history. Rain think, but who is this first leader? If he hear the name, maybe he will remember. And he asks, but what are such esteemed merchants doing in a small town like this? The person replied, there's a problem with the road leading to the sunlit highway. Ferocious monsters have appeared on the path, and dozens of people have gone missing. They are waiting for the Lord's forces to come and eliminate them. He wonder what their trading partners will say. Rain think monsters, beings whose essential nature has been twisted by the abyss, are called monsters. They resemble animals but have much more grotesque appearances and ferocious magical powers, and no matter how many are eliminated, they never disappear. As long as it's not a top-level monster, he shouldn't be in danger, and he continue his journey. Late at night, as he moving through the bamboo forest, he sensed something watching him, but it isn't attacking. Perhaps it sensed the difference in magical power, like a beast's instinct. He could handle monsters of this level. It's not his concern. The extermination team will take care of it. Then he recalled the memory of past when Esther said, all right, let's proceed overland from here. Fried asked, what do you mean? Esther explained, let's follow the Belisa River and head to Turvanop. Fried said he agree. Esther continued, there's a truly amazing flower field along the river. Want to stop by on the way? Fried asked, a flower field? Where is it? Lynn became flustered at their conversation and asked, what are they doing right now? Two Esther parties that crossed over to the continent before them were annihilated fighting at the front. Because of them, the front line has stagnated, and they're barely holding on, waiting for another hero's help. Do they know what kind of situation this is? Fried said, of course she do. The Red Dragon Legion and the Yellow Dragon Legion are heading to the battlefield, and all the strong mercenaries have crossed the sea for honor and glory. Lynn stated, so they need to hurry too. Esther stated, that's why she is saying this. With all the strong ones gone, monsters have started running wild across this continent as if they were waiting for this moment. Lynn remarked, at most they'd be danger level C, maybe B. They don't have time to deal with such things. Esther exclaimed, Lynn, in this world, there are many people who desperately need help, even for things that seem trivial. There's no weight in the need for help. She hoped he become an adult who helps such people. In present, Rain think even though he died 300 years ago, she is still nagging. He is just resting because he was a bit tired. Cast a spell and summon a creature, commanding it to locate the monster. Shortly thereafter, the creature captures the monster, and Rain orders it to bring the monster back. The creature obeys Rain's command. Seeing the monster, Rain think they call that a threat? He has dealt with countless creatures like this. He will release him if he promised not to harm people. Not that he would understand, and crush the monster in pieces. He didn't do it to help. It was just out of boredom. The border between the central and southern regions of the empire. If he remember correctly, this place was called the Badancho Mountain Range. The moment he stepped into it, the low-level beasts started to attack him. He became angry and think, how dare these lowly beasts look down on him. His thoughts were interrupted as the incoming monster are hit by arrows. That surprised him, and he quickly turned towards where the arrows come from while thinking of Kai's. But two persons are standing on the hill, with the bow. As the green-haired person jumped down towards him, Rain noticed the smell of alcohol coming from him. The green-haired person asked, is he okay? This is a place where monsters often appear. Didn't anyone tell him on his way here? The other person, with brown hair, asked, why would someone give such a warning? They, the descendants of the great palace, are guarding it. Meanwhile, Rain gained his composure and thought, it can't be Kai's. He stated, he is not sure which school they are from, but they helped him. Thank you for your help. Then he asked, by the way, this is the Badancho Mountain Range, right? Both looked towards each other and started laughing. Rain angrily asked, why are they laughing? The person with brown hair stated, how long has it been since it changed to Keeslington, and he still call it Badancho Mountain Range? Kieslinton. It means mountain range of Palace Kais. After defeating the Abyss, Kais seemed to have taken root here. They were the disciples of the archery school founded by Kais. Traditionally, skilled ones recognized by the headmaster guard this pass. Rain thought, is drunken archery the basic skill of this school? What exactly did they do to get assigned here? His thoughts were interrupted by the brown-haired person saying, he came at the right time, kid. There's a festival today. It's a day when anyone can drink free alcohol. He should know the taste of alcohol if he wants to become an adult. Alcohol he knows. It's said to be the path to the sun and moon. The green-haired person remarked, what a man of culture. Don't think he can skip his shift today by talking nonsense. Focus, they still have to guard this place. The other person asked, how can he let a kid like this go alone? That's unacceptable. He will just take him to the village entrance, and he will be back immediately. A little later the person stated, the path is a mess because of the fallen leaves, right? They do clear the leaves, but this year, so many leaves have fallen that it's endless even when they clear them. As he continued to explain, Rain checked the surroundings. The person remarked, if he go up those wooden stairs from here, he will find the training hall, and if he follow the path straight, he will reach the village. As Rain looked around, he saw a grave. As he looked closely, he realized it was Kai's grave. As his thoughts deepened, the person interrupted him, saying if he is on a journey, why doesn't he make a wish here too? Rain asked a wish? The person asked, hey, is he seriously asking because he don't know? Well, considering the time, he might not recognize it. Rain asked, recognize what? The person replied, this tomb. It's the tomb of Palace Kais. People usually make a wish here, saying please protect them this year too. Rain's expression became one of anger, and he said, don't joke around. The person asked, why would he joke around? Rain noted, it's strange. Who builds a tomb in the middle of a mountain? Kais, that person, the palace, is a hero, right? The person replied, he don't know the story behind this tomb, do he? Is he really from this country? Amongst Kai's companions was the archmage called Lynn. He knows. This is a well-known fact, so he think he might have heard of it before. But they say Lynn was very shy. Kais seemed to believe that Lynn would come back, even after he died. They said if the tomb was in the village, Lynn wouldn't be able to come because he was shy, so he asked for himself to be buried here. Rain recalled the memory of the past when he was Lynn. He said, Kais, he reek of alcohol and stop snoring, and don't touch his hair. In another memory, he guided Kais how to write a letter. He shouted again. He told him not to touch his hair. Rain thought, did he know that this was an eternal farewell, that they'd never meet again? Then his thoughts became negative, and he thought, no, that's not true. He promised to come back. He promised to come back to meet him. He promised. Thinking all this, he became frightened, and started to run away from the grave. Seeing that, the person asked, what happened? Then his foot struck a rock, causing him to crash to the ground. A little later, Rain sat at the edge of the cliff, contemplating his thoughts. Let's go back. Let's turn around and head to Kai's grave, and say my goodbyes there. Even if it's late, let's say he has come back, and apologize to him, and ask for forgiveness. As he lay down on the cliff, he recalled an old memory when he was Lynn. How did he manage to find it in such darkness? His eyesight is really good. How can he aim when he is drunk? Fried handed him a drink while saying, drink this. He can't aim when he is sober? Kais didn't have a tongue, so he couldn't talk. He was quiet during the day, but at night, it was really noisy. Recalling all these memories, Rain started laughing, followed by crying. A little later, he visited Kai's grave. He cast a fire spell on the dried leaves, burning them, and cleaning the area around the grave. He said his goodbyes. As he left, he apologized to Kais, saying it's not because he is shy, it's because he lacked the courage. The courage to face them all, the courage to meet and ask for forgiveness. He couldn't keep the promise he made with them all. As he approached his destination, he thought autumn in the south was sweltering. Under such a summer-like autumn sky, a brilliant city spread out before him. The Magic City Golden Rose, and the Magic University Delon was built at the heart of Golden Rose. It was a city he had been curious about since his past life, but it didn't live up to his expectations. His thoughts were interrupted by a nearby shopkeeper saying, magic books for sale. They also have study guides written by expert magic tutors. Another shopkeeper remarked, this is a magic amplification tool, and this here is a rare item found by a silver-grade adventurer in a dungeon. He thought, all knowledge flows through the Golden Rose. It's a phrase befitting the stature of this place where everything gathers. Rain went to a shop and asked for the price of an item. The shopkeeper replied, just 10 copper coins. Rain was surprised and asked the price a second time. The shopkeeper confirmed, yes, it's only 10 copper coins. Rain thought he remembered paying at least 80 copper coins for it back then. But his thoughts were interrupted by the shopkeeper saying, "Excuse me, sir, the clock tower bell is ringing. The exam is about to start." Rain immediately gave him 10 coins thinking, he is here to take the Delon exam. But his attention was grabbed by a running thief, and someone shouted, "Catch the thief, please." Rain thought, the security isn't great here. It's a big city, so the guards should handle it. More importantly is the exam hall. At that moment, a woman with silvery white hair bumped into Rain and fell to the ground. Rain promptly apologized to her and inquired about her well-being. He observed that she appeared to be unharmed. However, he mentioned that he was pressed for time and requested her understanding. But the woman stated, "Give it back. That's not for sale. It's a family heirloom. My grandson needs it for his entrance exam today. Please give it back." As she said all this, Rain thought, why should he help? He has an exam to take. Now's not the time. At that moment, he heard the voice of Esther saying, "Help her, Lynn." Then Rain moved towards her and asked, "Did that guy take it?" "Wait here for a moment. He will get it for her." Rain immediately chased after the thief, while jumping over the roof of nearby houses and prepared a spell to stop the thief. And Rain think he is so busy that he could die. This is so annoying. He is going to turn him into charcoal. At the moment, a voice interrupted him saying out of the way, and jumped over him. And she cast a spell in front of the thief, to block his escape. Thief remarked, "What's this? It seems like a sand wall?" In that instance, she stand in front of him, while saying, "Picking pockets at the Golden Rose, that's bold." She would give him that. But she think he picked the wrong day. Rain also knows her, but she continue he is done for now, because he got caught by none other than Christian. Rain thinks Sand Soldier and that confident attitude. That's the Warden. And he explained Warden, a lord from the Eastern Empire. Just like the Ludwick family, it's one of the 5 major magic houses. Before he regained his past memories, they met a few times at the house meeting. Whenever they met, he always spoke bluntly, so he called her Goody Two-Shoes. But how is she already wearing a uniform? He should be the same age as him. At present, Thief launched a wind spell that destroyed her sand soldiers. And also a boy caught in his spell, which Rain saved with his earth bind spell. Rain thinks so that Thief was a mage too. He has pretty decent magic power. What's that equipment on his left hand? Meanwhile, Christian started casting another spell while saying he is pretty good for a thief. Then try blocking this. Rain think it's 2-star magic, even done mentally. If the Ludwick family is known as the stealing mages, the Warden family is known as the commanding mages. The Warden family's bloodline limited magic is summoning magic of the earth attribute, and she summoned a sandstone golem, and she confidently remarked, "Try showing off again?" But the thief laughed and showed his artifact on his left arm, while saying with this he is invincible, and formed a black spear and launched at sandstone golem, and struck golem on the chest. But as the dust settles, the golem seems to have taken no damage. Seeing that, Christian note, did he think she did fall from such an attack? If he want to defeat her golem. But to her surprise, the golem tried to attack her, because golem was under the control of Thief now. But the golem attack was blocked by Rain, saying showing her trump card so soon is how she get counterattacked. Let him give her a tip. In magic, casting first doesn't mean she win. Order the golem to attack the Rain. As the golem attacks the Rain, but he think the magic circle's shape is circular, and the rune inscribed is flame. The Rain using a water spell to attack the golem. She asks, is he a water element mage? As the golem stands, its right arm lost, the thief declares water element may be the natural enemy of earth element, but his golem won't fall to a 1-star spell. He is boasting, but is that all he has got? He don't know his place, and yet he show off. As the thief commands the golem to eliminate both of them, the golem swiftly charges towards them to launch an attack. Once more, Rain attempts to thwart the golem's advance with the water spell. She shouts to Rain, "See, it doesn't work." Meanwhile, the thief remarks, "Stop wasting his time, and just die quietly." Unexpectedly, Rain surprises both of them as he pushes the golem backward and inflicts some damage. However, the golem quickly retaliates, prompting Rain to grab her and jump aside to evade the golem's attack. Rain considers, while stealing someone else's magic, it seems he can't use his own. If that's the case, then he tries to cast another spell. She exclaims, "What is he doing? Just pulling." Like that. However, as she sees Rain about to cast another spell, her eyes widen in shock, and she thinks the 1-star spell was cast just a few seconds ago. However, Rain analyzes the golem and thinks the magic circle's shape is a double square. The runes inscribed are Yul and Co. For earth element magic, he grant the properties of bind and reverse flow. The equation to solve is previs. differentiation, he declares, solution-derived law alteration, and casts his spell. Plant shoots emerge from the ground, immediately restraining both the golem and the thief. Rain moves towards the thief, snatching the artifact from the thief's from his left arm while asking, "What is this? Is this an artifact? It looks curious." The thief shouts, "Give it back. That's mine." Rain retorts, "You are ridiculous, you stole it." As Rain closely examines the artifact, he thinks, stealing control of the opponent's magic. It seems similar to Bel's Sidious. 2 magic circles are engraved on the gem, which means it can steal up to 2-star magic. Interesting. The thief asked, "Who are you? How did you cast magic so quickly?" Rain thinks, who is he? He wouldn't believe him even if he told him. Then, Rain hands the artifact to the silver-haired woman, saying, "Next time, keep it safe." As she receives the artifact back, she starts crying. The assembled crowd erupted with cheers of saying "Incredible kid" and "Fantastic job." Recalling the entrance exam, Rain hurriedly made his way to the exam location. Meanwhile, guards arrived at the scene and apprehended the thief. Approaching Krista, Professor Caroline remarked there was a mistake. She knows that, right? Being confident is great, but she shouldn't have used the golem hastily. Krista replied she knows, she will be careful next time. Professor Caroline noted Krista's quick self-reflection is a good quality. But their conversation was interrupted by Krista's question. "But did she see? That guy, he's amazing. His magic casting speed was almost as fast as the professor's." Professor Caroline laughed and acknowledged that she saw it. "He seemed even faster than her," Krista replied. "Come on, it's not that much. By the way, what happened? That guy didn't seem that strong during the selection meeting." Professor Caroline questioned. "Really? But if he came for the entrance exam, why was he here?" Krista asked. "What is she talking about?" Professor Caroline replied, "The exam started a while ago." She shouted, "What is she talking about?" Krista asked, "Can't she somehow pass him anyway?" Professor Caroline replied, "It's the rules." Krista stated if she was late because she was helping someone, couldn't she be a bit lenient? Professor Caroline inquired, "Since when have she thought so much about others?" Krista remarked she saw earlier, "Such a person needs to exist for things to get fired up. And it would be better for the school to have interesting characters, right?" Professor Caroline replied, "Well, that's true." A little later, at her office, Professor Caroline conducted a background check on Rain. She thought no history of placing in a magic competition. No significant achievements in other areas either. The genius prodigy said to be a calamity brought upon the Ludwick family by the heavens. Then document revealed that he had been Scalzi Ludwick's assistant for 3 years. She think under the former great mage and head of the Osirius school? Being family doesn't mean he's sheltered. He's the kind of person who would ruthlessly dismiss someone if they don't produce results. If being an assistant is true, why is he called a genius prodigy within the 8 great schools? Then she called out his assistant, saying, "Please schedule a meeting with the chancellor. She has something to discuss regarding individual admissions." The assistant responded, "Yes, as you wish, Professor Caroline." A while later, delating Chancellor Medelia Page remarked, "History seems to repeat itself, doesn't it?" She is not sure why, but it seems that talents always emerge in the same period. Hubert from the Rohunam school, Lillian from the Rivendell school, Aiden from the Harimund school, Nora from the Melif school, Logan from the Chihak school. 5 latecomers from the 8 major schools enrolling at once. The Warden family has also sent a talented child, but that child might struggle alone. Since the conflict between the magic families and the 8 schools is deep, it's not pleasant to get involved in students' disputes. It's undeniable that this is a special situation. Professor Caroline replied she should notify professors and instructors. Medelia Page remarked, "Observe the students closely and intervene if necessary. Just avoid intervening too frequently." Then she asked, "What's wrong?" Professor Caroline replied she think it might be a bit too soon. "Isn't it a bit premature to make such a decision? It seems there's a genius from the magic families in this batch that isn't just Krista." Medelia Page asked, "Are there any new students she is unaware of?" Professor Caroline replied, "No, there aren't." Medelia Page noted, "Could it be the child she want to pass in an additional test?" Professor Caroline stated she wouldn't believe her even if she told her. She would have seen him at the family meeting. Medelia Page remarked she still have a habit of beating around the bush. Cat. Professor Caroline exclaimed, "It's just her personal opinion. But maybe they could let Rain Ludwick enroll, and not interfere at all." Medelia Page noted she is curious how they would act in such a situation. "Well, they will know the outcome soon," Professor Caroline said, "right? After all, The strict Owen is their homeroom teacher. Madelia Page asked, by the way, did he really say he wouldn't accept any reward? Professor Caroline remarked, yes, he absolutely hates it when it's revealed that he's the hero, makes things complicated. He'd rather just read his books in peace. Madelia Page stated, he's a weird one. Professor Caroline replied, weird ones make good magicians, as his master always used to say. But she seemed gloomy today? Madelia Page noted she is still as perceptive as ever. If Rain Ludwick caught that thief, it seems related to the Dark Church. Professor Caroline remarked, surely not, there must be a mistake. Madelia Page exclaimed, have she ever heard her talk nonsense? The Special Affairs Department contacted them first. They will be here soon. She has a bad feeling, so be prepared. Rain thought he was notified of his acceptance after missing the exam due to being late on the morning following the chaos. A professor named Caroline suggested that he could pretend to have taken an additional exam and be placed on the list of successful candidates. She was worried that additional exams were perceived as a disgrace for those who failed the regular admission, but that was no issue for him. Being anxious about retaking the exam, he immediately accepted the offer. Thus, he stood in front of the gates of Delon, the greatest magic university where the pinnacle of intelligence in the Holy Human Empire gathers. He found himself standing in front of the gates of Delon School. He has never had any connection with school. In his previous life, he learned magic from the head of the Osirius school, and in this life, from his family. Even now, he doesn't feel the need to learn from anyone, but in this life, he needs to find something that Esther left behind. She's waiting at the end of this path. Until then, he has to bring his magic skills up to at least the level of his previous life. His thoughts were interrupted by Krista calling his name and thanking him for helping her last time, and her mood swung and she instantly shouted, no, wait. Even without his help, she could have handled it alone. Her speech was interrupted by the gathered students who exclaimed, hey, look at that! It's Krista Warden, the top student recommended from this batch. Rain remarked, she is more famous than he thought. She replied, of course. There's even a saying that anyone who doesn't know Krista Warden in their generation is a spy from the Republic. He is the rival, she acknowledged. Consider himself lucky. Rain thought, rival? He can't stand annoying things. Come to think of it, there was someone similar in his past life. The little brat named Gisela, she met in the tower. She insisted on being treated as a senior since she entered the tower first. She was so boastful, he remembered it clearly. At present she asked, hey, why is he laughing? Is he mocking her? If he thinks what he saw then is all there is, he will regret it later, and cast her spell. Rain thought, no, seriously, why in a place like this? She remarked, do he now have an idea of her true abilities? How about it, do he feel like giving it his all? But Rain thought she doesn't seem to care about the surroundings. This person is Gisela. She must have been reincarnated. Should he show her a taste of some spiciness? But their fight was interrupted by a student named Hubert saying, what a dramatic performance. One's the top entrant, and the other's a genius prodigy who barely gotten through an additional exam. It's a comparison of extremes, isn't it? As the students saw Hubert, they started talking. One exclaimed, it's Hubert from Nolinum School, the runner-up graduate from Delon Middle School. The second student remarked, he has heard he's been rivals with Krista for a long time. However, Hubert interrupted, saying, hey, keep going. This is great entertainment. Why is she stopping now? Krista replied, but the audience quality is too low. It's not fun, and it would be unfortunate if you got caught up in his magic and ended up somewhere, right? He should be thankful for his consideration. Hubert responded, he is so grateful that he is in tears. But isn't it a bit shameless to run her mouth when she can't even handle it? She should know her place. What if she end up regretting it later? She remarked. The runner-up shouldn't be saying that. Why don't he show her what he has got? Hubert replied, her proud personality hasn't changed. If she keeps living like that, she will end up bringing shame to her family name. He almost pitied her. He then turned to Rain and saying, he was so insignificant that he didn't even notice that he was here. The genius young master who got him through the additional test, what is he staring at? Do he has something on his face? Or is there something bothering him with his choice of words? Rain responded, it's not that it's bothering him. It's more like, who is this person acting so cocky? Can he even use magic? If he is trying to pick a fight with him, he should be decent at magic. That surprised all the students who heard him. In anger, Hubert said, you little brat, what did you just say? Meanwhile, Krista laughed and stated, getting knocked down while showing off to an absolute nobody. If it was her, she'd be too embarrassed to even show her face. This is quite a spectacle. At that moment, a professor shouted, freshmen, what are they doing, not coming inside? Hurry up and come in. Cadet Krista, what is she doing here as the freshman representative? Hurry up and get inside for the oath preparations. She replied yes, she is coming now. As she was about to enter, she turned around and called Rain's name. She will let it go this time because there's no time, but don't even think about it next time. They are settling this properly. Rain thought. What nonsense is she talking about again? Just leave it alone, please, a brown-haired student remarked. Krista and the genius young master who passed the additional test? They can't even be compared, another student interrupted. Can't be compared? Krista will actually have a hard time, he should know, the brown-haired student asked. You're from Rivarden Middle School, right? What does he mean? The student with red hair responded. Did he know that young master was Principal Scalzi's assistant? If he see how strong he is, you won't say such nonsense. As all the new students settled in the hall, the announcer declared, now they will commence the 1388th Delon University entrance ceremony, then continued his speech for a while. Bored by the speech, Rain thought, when will this end? Then the announcement was made for. The chancellors will welcome and address to the freshmen. One of the students noted, that's the Empire's best mage, her name is Medelia Page. As she glanced toward the students, they all became slightly nervous. Rain thought to himself, the most powerful mage of the Empire, the current head of the Mage Council, with that hair color, that purple hair is genetic. She addressed, freshmen, welcome to Delon. She is Medelia Page, Chancellor of Delon University. First, congratulations to the 233 freshmen gathered here on their admission. However, half of them won't make it to the second year, either being held back or expelled. Among the 117 who survive, only about 60 will advance to the third year, and of those, only half will proceed to graduation. Therefore, each year, fewer than 30 graduates complete the program. This is the kind of place Delon is. It's a place that polishes their talents. They will continuously subject them to trials under the guise of honing to judge whether they are rough stones that can become jewels. Delon's policy is unlimited competition. Those who fall behind in competition won't even earn the right to receive a diploma. They will feel this keenly throughout their time here. So sharpen yourselves, and clash against each other and grow, in this place, Delon, until the insignificant stones here at Delon shine with their own brilliance. In 3 years let's meet again here. Then, as fellow mages, she welcomed them, and she wished each and every one of them a good fortune. As she turned around to leave, all the students began applauding for her. Rain also joined in the applause, thinking, let's meet again, looking forward to it. Other professors were also watching, including Professor Caroline. The professor beside her remarked, it's chaotic, but Professor Caroline exclaimed, she likes the energy. But other professor remarked, the energy should be matched with ability, though. She laughed and said, that's true. Then she turned around and asked what did he think, Professor Owen? He replied he expected this batch to be high level, but he only see idiots with dung in their heads. She asked what does he mean? And he stated all of them are destined to fail. Rain entered the college department building known as the Hall of the Sleeping Dragon. He looked for his classroom and found it a little while later. He entered and took his seat in the empty room, enjoying the breeze coming in from the window. At that moment, some student said, it seems you are my partner. Please take good care of me in the future. He turned around, replying yes, likewise. Please take care, but stopped midway as he became flustered upon seeing Krista. Krista remarked, even the sky is indifferent. To think he has to compete with the top student, Krista Warden, right from the first lesson. The girl with pink eyes and hair, Gertrude Panton of the Panton Baronet family, noted. If she was to loosely translate Miss Krista's words, it would be something like, she is so happy to be sitting next to him. Krista replied, of course she is happy. She gets to bring down this guy's arrogant nose from day one. Her talk was interrupted by Hubert saying, how delightful this is. The daughter of the Panton family is joining in today too. It's enviable that mages from noble families controlling 2 or 3 vassal families are here. It's truly a shame that the lady is being rude by pointing fingers at others. Gertrude Panton stated, he doesn't understand. That's actually part of Miss Krista's charm. Even without that, she's still quite charming. At least more than someone who's only superficially impressive. They continued their argument for a while, and Rain thought, he feels like he is going to be seasick. He then recalled an old memory when Fried asked him, did he ever want to attend school? He replied no. She noted that's odd. He remarked he is already a 4-star elite mage. What more can school teach him? It's just a waste of time. She stated, you fool. School isn't just a place for academic learning. He asked, then what do they learn? she replied. People. He thought school is a place where they learn about humans like these. Then the homeroom teacher entered the room. Seeing him, Rain thought a gorilla? No, is this the class homeroom teacher? He noticed there's a strange tension in the air. Rain asked, what's this guy deal? She replied, he doesn't know Owen? He's a professor famous for being stingy with grades. Professor Owen glanced around at the students and remarked, to think he has to guide these pathetic monkeys for a year. He is not motivated. These monkeys only have poop for brains. Where are you looking while he is talking? He threw chalk at a student, hitting him in the face and causing him to cough up blood. All the students immediately became attentive and looked at the homeroom teacher. Professor Owen continued, pathetic. Are they laughing now? You guys know nothing. You think you own the world now that you've entered Delon. Dreaming of becoming a court mage for a great noble or living lavishly by setting up your own mage tower? Give such delusions to the dogs. If they ever become like that, then he may call them master. However, they are still monkeys who have hardly grown fur, and there's a mountain of things they must learn. He then asked, are there any from the 8 major schools here? Hubert and a girl with black hair raised their hands. Professor Owen stated the worst thing about this school is these idiots from the 8 major schools. The strange, mathematical formulas they bring in the name of school tradition are astonishing. He doesn't even expect contributions, just don't get in the way. Then he asked, any from mage noble families? Rain and Krista raised their hands. Professor Owen noted, these guys are truly disgusting, acting all-knowing and arrogant without having experienced hardship. Go home and learn how to change their clothes by themselves first, then come back. Rain thought a great monkey with unprecedented talent in rhetoric. He might be better suited as a cult leader than a mage. Professor Owen continued, his job over this year is to make them into at least usable mages. Even better than monkeys, that is. There's no place for anyone here who's worse than a monkey. Anyone who can't keep up will be ruthlessly abandoned. At least try to evolve into a human. He then asked, why aren't they answering? Are they not paying attention? Should he teach them how to respond? Is that so? He turning to a nearby student and asked, is he scary? The student replied, no, he is not scary. Professor Owen remarked, so that means he is seen as easygoing? Then he announced, they will have a test now. You and the person next to you will form teams of 2 for the test. The team that comes last will be expelled immediately. Keep that in mind. The green-haired student inquired, expulsion, really? Is it that easy? The blue-haired student replied, he hasn't heard of such a thing. He's probably just saying that to scare them. However, Professor Owen continued writing the problem on the board. A little later, as he finished, he noted the time. Limit is 20 minutes. From now on, solve this problem on the paper on their desk and submit it. Those who can't solve it within the time and are the last ones to submit will be expelled as promised. He asked, what are they staring blankly for? And shouted, the exam has already started. Work in pairs of 2. Even monkeys could solve 2-star magic if they put their heads together, right? Rain looked towards Krista, while she explained, the magic circle is shaped like 2 layers of a fan. The runes to be inscribed are Ju and U. The formula to use is, and she said, hurry and help. Build the basic formula with matrices and then find the answer using a cubic function. Rain inquired, matrices? Is she the type to suffer unnecessarily? She shouted, stop chatting and start writing. Then she remembered what the head of the Warden family said to her. The Warden family is finished now. Both the elder and younger daughters are like that. Krista, he is counting on her. She is the only one who can revive their family. Considering all this, she stated she has to become the top student. Meanwhile, Rain thought she has a heavy burden to bear. His thoughts were interrupted by her, asking, what is he looking at? Have he figured out the function's answer? He replied yes, and gave it to her. She remarked, good, now she just needs to solve it. At that moment, a strong wind blew from the window, disturbing both of them. She asked, why now, out of all times? Then the paper on which she solved the problem torn into pieces. She exclaimed in shock, no, it can't be happening. Hearing her shouting, Professor Owen remarked, she is noisy. Can't she do a calculation quietly? She replied, she is sorry, teacher, and noted to herself, it's ruined, she has to start all over. Then Rain activated Bell's Sidious and traced the traces of wind magic on the torn paper back to the culprit who used that spell. That was none other than Hubert. Rain thought the 8 major schools are just playing childish pranks. The Rohunam school is the school of wind. The secret art is silent and colorless. They activated it silently and without any color, so the magic used must have been wind manipulation. His thoughts were interrupted by Krista saying, "Give her his paper, hurry and rewrite it." What is he spacing out for? Rain thought. The time limit is down to 8 minutes now. He already has the solution process in his head. He can do it in 8 minutes. He snatched the paper from her, and she asked, "What is she doing?" Rain noted it's impossible. They can't finish in time with this method. She questioned, how can he know without trying? Rain sighed and stated, she needs to know when to give up. This made her angry at him. He continued, it can be done. It's just too much for her way. He immediately started writing with great speed, that's surprising her. While advising her, he said, if she break down that easily, she can't be a mage. Remember this. A strong mage must remain calm at any moment. In the world they lived in, even 8 minutes was not a given. The price for just a few seconds delay was not just expulsion, but death. This time, we'll take the lead, so she just helps. Don't hold us back. A little while later, Hubert and the black-haired girl approached Professor Owen, with Hubert handing him a paper and saying, please grade this. Professor Owen examined the paper closely, then checked the activation of Magic Circle by pouring his magic onto it. Smoke erupted from the paper. Seeing this, Professor Owen remarked, the JE&U runes are working properly. Considering the short time, it's not bad, but don't get cocky. It's not that great. This kind of problem only needs 2 minutes. Therefore, the grade is AC. Hubert protested. He can't accept this. He solved it first in the class, and the math formula is perfect. So what is the reason? Professor Owen replied, stop messing around. Rohunam School of Wind. You know exactly why it's AC grade, monkey kid. The black-haired girl began to speak. What is he trying to say? She really. But her talk was interrupted by Rain, who said, can he please move aside now? Seeing them at the front, other students started discussing. One student noted, their answer sheets were all torn up earlier. A second student remarked, that's what he said. And they've already finished? Meanwhile, Rain said, please grade our answers too, Professor. Professor Owen closed the book with a smile and asked, did they really complete it? This is truly unpleasant. He was excited at the thought of expelling these rookie mages from the magic lineage. Rain replied, if he can't use magic just because the wind blows, he can't call himself a mage anywhere. Professor Owen remarked he likes his spirit, but it's not even as much as a booger. From his mother. As he looked closely at the paper, he noted the magic circle is different from what was proposed. Rain responded yes, one magic circle is fan-shaped, and the other is drawn as a circle. Professor Owen asked, why did he make a different one? Rain replied, the JE rune works well with water attribute magic. Using that, he simplified the mathematical formula to operate this rune. If he can solve the rune's requirements with a first-order equation, activation time speeds up. Professor Owen noted, this isn't something that even comes up in middle school lessons. He knows it well. Rain replied, that's what's strange about the middle school curriculum. Can't say he is properly using magic until he fully mastered the runes. Considering that, he changed the shape of magic circle. Professor Owen thought. Based on his understanding of runes, he aimed to reduce the activation time. Then stated it's a smart answer. Whether it will activate properly is another story. Rain responded right, but check it yourself. Professor Owen poured his magic into the circle, saying, can't wait to see that nose flatten. Does he know? He construct a dual tribute magic circle. Math to solve you becomes several times harder. Let's see if this is skill or just a stunt. And the spell activated. A bright golden light shone between the blue magic circles. Seeing this, Professor Owen and all the students widened their eyes in surprise. Professor Owen started clapping and remarked, he has been teaching for 13 years. He has seen many geniuses, but you guys are the first to submit such an answer. It really infuriates him, but this answer deserves an S grade, something he has never given in such a trivial quiz before. Rain replied that's high praise. Krista jumped happily, exclaiming thank you, and celebrated for a moment. Professor Owen then stated enough now. Go back to your seats. Unless they want their score reduced, she replied sorry, teacher. Professor Owen then noted, the same goes for you too. The evaluation is over. Go back to their seats quietly. Hubert remained silent, while the black-haired girl replied yes, teacher. Meanwhile, Krista, smiling, went back to her seat. Rain approached Hubert and stared at him angrily. In response, Hubert asked anything else to say? Seeing them, Professor Owen stated, don't make me repeat myself. If they don't want to be disciplined. Rain moved away, saying he won't overlook it next time. Somehow, the students endured their first lesson while enduring the harsh criticism from Professor Owen. During the note test, Rain mentioned this part is a bit difficult. Krista remained silent, prompting Rain to ask, "Hey, can't she hear him? Why is she like that?" Meanwhile, Professor Owen remarked, "That's all for today. What's with those faces? Is this too hard for them? Don't worry, next time he will present something even more challenging. Those who can't keep up will be left behind. Hammer today's lesson into their heads as if their lives depend on it. That's all." As Krista was about to leave, she called out Rain's name. Rain asked, "What is it?" She thanked him for what he did earlier. He replied, "Her voice is too soft, can't hear it." "Can she say it again, properly?" She retorted, "Don't mess around. She will definitely pay back this debt next time, so don't get cocky. You and I are rivals. They will only help each other this once. Got it?" Rain replied, "No way." As she continued to argue with Rain, rumors spread throughout the campus about Owen granting an S grade to Krista and the genius scholar. Many students were amazed that such high grades were bestowed by the gorilla. The next day, Rain stated, next time they meet, he will pay back the debt. Krista warden and asked, "Which floor is her dorm?" Krista noted, "He must be on the top floor among the freshmen. He is the top admit, after all, right?" And she told him not to show off. Rain replied, "Showing off or whatever, it was she who said it. Doesn't making promises she can't keep make her seem frivolous?" She became angry and said, "Look forward to it," as she left. Entering the building, one student exclaimed, "Look, there, it's the first floor. He's the eldest son of the Ludwick family." Another student replied, "Hey, don't talk nonsense. If he had come on time, he would have been assigned the room next to Krista." The first student noted, "He is joking." The second student stated, "With those skills, he would have passed the regular exam. Why take a supplementary one?" Meanwhile, Rain found his room, utilizing the artifact to unlock the door and gain entry. Reflecting on its interior, he noted it was a single room, evoking memories of his time at the Magic Tower. Even in his past life, he had been confined to a similar room, solely dedicated to the study of magic. As he lay down on his bed, thoughts raced through his mind. Apart from the first lesson, there seemed to be little else of note. Contemplating his options, he pondered the idea of infiltrating the Vatican to investigate his remains. However, he realized that infiltrating with his current identity and abilities would pose significant challenges. Attempting to arrange a 4-circle magic formation, he experienced disappointment as it broke and disappeared. Reflecting on his capabilities, he concluded that 4-star magic still eluded him. As an owl perched on his windowsill, something tied with a rope to owl leg caught his attention. Untying it from the owl's leg and removing the covering cloth, he discovered a wooden box. Upon closer inspection, he noticed there was no sender's name, prompting thoughts of whether his father had sent it. Opening the box revealed 2 books, one blue and the other brown, noticeably worn. Examining the brown book closely, he was taken aback as he realized it was the diary he entrusted to Esther. His eyes widened in surprise. In that moment, he pondered nervously about the sender's identity. Who could have sent him this? It had to be someone who knew him. On-campus magic training facility, Battle Dragon Field. A countdown announcement rings out, 30 seconds left to the target, then 25 seconds, and now 20 seconds remain. As Krista battles monsters with her sand soldier, Gertrude Panton asks, "Did something good happen today?" Krista inquires why Gertrude is asking. Announcement is made, 10 seconds remaining. Gertrude Panton notes, "It seems like she is more excited than usual. Is it because she met with Lord Rain? She is curious if something happened between you two." Krista immediately shouts, "Nothing happened. She is just annoyed by seeing that irritating face again today. She is relieving stress while practicing." Gertrude thinks she is not fooling anyone with that act. It seems the rumors about she getting help from Rain Ludwick during the exam are true. It's surprising though. The Rain Ludwick she met during childhood at the family gathering didn't seem like this. She then states, "It's over, Mississippi. Please put away the golem now." Meanwhile, Hubert is making his way through the central lounge of the student dormitory. A student remarks, "Welcome, C-grade loser." Hubert retorts, "Don't mess with him. Keep that up, and he might just die." Logan, a postgraduate of the Chihak school, exclaims, "Calm down, man. You're scared enough to pee your pants." He heard someone got a C grade today and nearly wet himself. Plus, Krista got an S grade even with sandbags on. Wasn't that genius boy in the same group? What's he like in person? Just a coward, as the rumors said? Still better than him, though. Hubert responds, "That's not something a muscle-brained fool would say." And question, is he challenging him? Logan replies if he wished that. As they are about to fight, a girl with red hair intervenes, saying, "Then stop it, won't you? It's not just them here." Logan sighs and says it was just a joke. The red-haired girl, Lillian, a postgraduate of the Rivendell School, replies, that's why his magical achievements are stagnant, always up to pointless antics. Even if it's Krista, what gain is there in bullying the weak? Hubert turns away, saying he will wreck them himself. Touch them carelessly, and he will be the first to go down. A little later, as he enters his room, he thinks, Logan, you idiot, and punches the wall in anger, gritting his teeth. He then thinks about Rain. What exactly did he do? He worked under Professor Scalzi as an assistant for 3 years, not chosen by blood ties but by skill? A guy who couldn't even earn a single rank. That shouldn't be possible. Meanwhile, Rain is sitting on his bed reading a blue book he received from an owl. He thinks Part 1 is about Lynn's life. Part 2 covers the magic and combat styles he has used. It's incomprehensible. Even if someone knows his identity, how did they know? And if they know, why haven't they made contact? As he sees the clock, he remarks it's already 2300 hours. Better turn off the lights before the housemaster comes. As he is about to turn off the light, his attention is grabbed by the book he left to Esther. He picks up the book and opens it. A large Rudian emerges from the book, surprising him, and he immediately releases the book and dashes backward. Seeing the Rudian, he notes, that's an ancient rune school 8 Rudian. The one he made in his previous life? No, it's twice as big and much darker than before. Even so, to have persisted for as long as 300 years? But on whose magical power? And for what purpose? His thoughts are interrupted as the Rudian sits on his finger. Then a system window pops up showing information. Progress in unique magic research can continue. Progress, 37%. Another window pops up showing different runes. Seeing them, he notes, this is something he researched in his past life to reach the sage level? These are the 12 original runes he tried in real battles 300 years ago. He thought all had failed, but the progress is at 37%? It shouldn't be possible for a 4-star magic like Rudian to check the progress of a 6-star magic. But if this is real, then he wasn't wrong in his path. If he continue this way, he can reach the truth. The sudden appearance of hope makes him instantly forget the sender of the book, erasing it from his mind in a flash. The following day, Rain put on his uniform, picked up his book, and noted then, shall he start with the research now? A little while later, as he arrived at campus, it began to rain. He thought unlike the north, where it gets chilly when it rains, the southern regions remain warm even during rain due to the influence of the Badancho mountain range. He started to walk in the rain, and shortly after, the instructor explained, this is a place where one can practice magic freely. For that purpose, a battlefield is perfectly suited. She will guide him. According to the dormitory supervisor, the battlefield is a place to train powerful magic with a broad range. Surrounded by high-level magic for damage prevention and restoration, he can recklessly cast spells without worrying about the surroundings. Just touch the entrance with his student ring to enter. Rain followed her instructions and touched the entrance with his ring. An announcement window popped up showing information. 1388th Rain Ludwick. Welcome to the battlefield. Currently, all 30 rooms are vacant. She remarked, please feel free to use them. Rain stated he would use room 15, the closest one. Then he teleported there and remarked, give him a target and make it a sturdy one. A magic circle appeared a little distance from him, and a golem emerged from it. Rain examined it and remarked, is it at the 2-star magic grade? That's not bad. Then he opened the book and read, the rune U imparts a wriggling trait to the molecules. If this rune is engraved on flame magic, the embers wriggle and burn persistently. Reading that, he closed the book and thought, let's start with this rune. He constructing a triangular magic circle and engraved the rune U. As he engraved the rune, the magic circle became unstable and disappeared. Then he thought, looks like 1-star magic doesn't work. In anger, he closed his fist and constructed 3 triangular magic circles simultaneously, engraving the rune U on all of them with great speed. This was followed by a small explosion, creating tiny red particles that Rain controlled and directed at the golem, covering it entirely. Seeing his magic from a distance, Hubert thought, what's this trash magic? It's 1-star magic, but he can't even use it properly? The characteristic of flame magic is to be noisy. But seeing how quiet it is, it looks like it's still at the basic stage. The rumor that he was an assistant under Scalzi seems to have been false. A little later, as Hubert left, the golem began to crack and fell to the floor. Rain sighed and thought he barely succeeded. The flame with the trait of U penetrates the target's body and melts it from within. That would be the intended effect. But it took 30 seconds to melt a 2-star sandstone golem. Does the rune need to be more refined? No, maybe it's a problem with the mathematical theory. Thinking that, a smile appeared on his face, and he thought, Still, there's plenty of time to figure that out. No matter how much you mess up, you can solve it. He didn't realize magic research could be so thrilling. A little later, he sat down on the floor and looked at the system window. That provided information, re-established the mechanics theory and modified the rune U to U. Rain thought. Rudian not only detects magic in the vicinity but also summarizes and reports the research conducted that day. Truly a precious existence. Then he noticed that progress had increased and thought, but it's increased by 0.1%? Did the mathematical theory improve, or did the rune become more refined? Maybe there's meaning in training this way. Don't think too deeply, there's plenty of time. At that moment, a strong wind disturbed him, and he thought, what's this? Then he saw Hubert casting his spell, and he thought it's just a novice mage from the Rohunam school. Meanwhile, Hubert used his spell to defeat one flying monster after another, filling the area with monsters' corpses. Seeing that, Rain thought, he's not bad. At least worth talking about. A while later in class, Professor Owen explained that the procedure for casting magic is divided into 3 steps. First is setting up the magic circle. Second is engraving the runes. Third is performing the mathematical calculations. Many magicians struggle with the third step, mathematical calculations. If there is a calculation error at any stage, a catastrophe occurs. To prevent such disasters, Archmage Lynn developed a mathematical formula known as the Lynn discriminate. He will give them an example. Use the Lynn discriminate to solve it. It might be overwhelming for their tiny brain capacities, so he will be generous and give them 10 minutes. This formula is made to be easy, so there shouldn't be anyone who can't solve it. Let's start. As Rain looked at the paper, he thought, who passed on this formula? They didn't even know about his formula and could barely add or subtract. Wait a minute, there's one person who comes to mind. That annoying little kid who claimed to be his disciple and stubbornly followed him around. Did Trina sell it off as something he came up with? That's impossible. That was over 300 years ago. Then who could it be? His thoughts were interrupted by Krista, who said, hey. Rain asked, did she fail to understand something? Let him see. She replied, what nonsense is he talking about? She is the great genius, Krista Warden. He and his kind are beneath her, not to mention she is even smarter. Hearing her shouting, Professor Owen glanced at her angrily. She apologized, noting she wouldn't speak out of turn again. Rain asked, if not, that, so what is it then? She became a little nervous and handed him a box. Rain inquired, what's this? She replied, there are cookies inside. She made these cookies because she had some time left from magic training. He said she owed him before, didn't he? This is to repay that debt. Satisfied now? He thanked her, noting she was more diligent than he thought. As he opened the box and saw the cookies, he was shocked and asked, these really are cookies, right? She replied, yes. He then asked, did she use mud instead of flour? She shouted, they're real cookies. Meanwhile, hearing his shouting, Professor Owen threw a piece of chalk at her, which she blocked with paper. Other students started discussing. One student stated, he can't believe finding this was so easy. Lynn really was a genius. Another remarked, if they are talking about contributions to the magic world, he's like a god. Maybe he was an angel sent by a god. A green-haired girl exclaimed, talk some sense. He might have been the reincarnation of a great sage, but not a god or an angel. The brown-haired boy sitting next to her noted, he is telling her, he is right. She asked, what makes us so different? He replied, it must be their brain structures. She noted, he could freely handle any magic. She is so jealous. Hearing all this, Rain became a little shy and thought, please stop. Krista wondered, why is his face turning red? Is he being this shy over a few cookies? At that moment, Professor Owen approached her and noted, for a monkey who doesn't even attend classes, she sure knows how to defend herself. Is she interested in attending a special class? She became nervous and said, no teacher, she is sorry. Professor Owen stated, now submit her answers. That concludes today's lesson. During the 4th period, they went to visit different clubs. She asked, which club is he going to join? She is definitely joining the Magic Volleyball Club. The descendants of the magic lineage are obligated to maintain dignity by playing magic volleyball. Rain asked, really? What does magic volleyball have to do with dignity anyway? She thought he didn't know that. Rain noted, he will take his time and look around. See her later. Rain thought, Delon features various clubs designed for exchange and competition among students. These clubs are established for that purpose. The Combat Magic Club, the Fire Attribute Magic Club, the Festival Magic Club. Clubs are formed by students with common goals or motivations and receive activity funding upon approval from the advisory professor. It provides an environment for everyone to dedicate themselves to their research, separate from classes. There are many interesting places. He should take a good look around. But because of her, he is so distracted that he can't concentrate. She shouted, "Hey, come on! Listen to what she is saying! Didn't Lord Ludwick mention? The magic lineage must join the Magic Volleyball Club." Rain replied he hasn't heard that. "And even if that's the case, it's no problem." She inquired, "Really?" He replied, "His father won't meddle no matter where he go." Gertrude Panton asked, "That can't be true. The Magic Volleyball Club is a royal club. He must join for the honor of the magic lineage." Rain inquired, "It's not mandatory, is it?" The Sculpture Magic Club seems more interesting to him, and this local development magic club as well. Rain thought of an old memory when Esther remarked, people were clinging to survival, but when the world became peaceful, everyone was gradually able to do what they liked. When Lynn grows up, the world will surely become prosperous. So she hoped Lynn can protect those lives. Gertrude Panton questioned, "Did he hear what she said? Where is he going?" Rain exclaimed, "He is going to check out the local development magic club." She thought, does he not know that magic volleyball is an essential part of the social gatherings of high-ranking magicians? The glory of the Ludwick family, which has competed with the Page family for over 100 years, might end with Lord Rain. But the eldest daughter of the Page family disappeared after a certain event. If the Ludwick family also falls from grace, is it time for the beginning of a new era led by Lady Krista? She excitedly turned around towards Krista, but she was nowhere to be seen. She thought, could she be following Lord Rain? Krista noted she was just curious about what the local development magic club is like. Rain replied he understands. She stated, and she definitely didn't follow him. Got it? Hey, is he listening? Rain replies with a simple okay. At the moment, they are arrived at local development magic club. And Rain think, is this the place? As they about to enter, they hear someone shouting how he is supposed to accept such ridiculous conditions. The person shouted at Logan, who replied, the strong take it all. Isn't that the rule of the Delon Club? This room will be useful for them, so hand it over. Rain asked, who's that? She replied he really don't know. That's Logan, a junior member of the Chihak school. Rain then asked about the Chihak school. She note, what do he even know? It's a school that specializes in producing mages with a focus on martial arts. Rain replied he know that much too. However, Logan inquired, so he is saying that they should settle it with a duel, right? Do he even have the guts to duel against his senior? Local development? Why do he even need such a ridiculous club? Who would recognize it anyway? She exclaims this happens often. To run a club activity you need a room. But if you want to create a club when there are no spare rooms, you have to take over another club's room. Rain asked, with a magic duel? She replied, correct. It's a clear and convincing method. He turned around to leave while saying that's right. She asked, won't he join? Rain replied he hate annoying things. Meanwhile, student with glasses remark you. 8 great schools might not realize it, but studying mathematics or advancing academics isn't the only reason magic exists. Logan asked, then what else is there? He explained it's true that academic feats have led to the advancement of magic, but agriculture and relief efforts are areas where magic hasn't been utilized. Logan note, is that so? The student with glasses continues by saying if they could find a way to use magic, they might easily solve problems like poverty. No, they definitely could solve them. This is a club that the seniors set up to make that happen. Even now, thinking about the people who are struggling, he absolutely can hand it over to him. Logan laughed and remarked, is he serious? If that were possible, the archmages and sages would have already done it. And Logan grabbed him and stated he can't even keep a club against a freshman. What's with all the talk? Have those seniors ever produced any results? Is there anything that has changed? Do he really believe that such pathetic research left by these useless people can change the world? He doesn't even dare to fight with magic. He must think it's trivial, right? It's so frustrating. So instead of someone he don't know, how about helping him, the person right in front of him? Come on, it's easier to give up. He replied he can't do that. Logan asked, it seems he can't open his eyes properly. Did he just wake up? Is he fully awake yet? Well, it can't be helped. He will help him open his eyes, as he about to throw him to the ground with great force. But he was interrupted by Rain's spell, causing him to lose the grip and drop the student to ground. And Rain asked, won't he have that magic duel with him? Logan asked, who is he? Rain replied he just joined as a new member. Then a system showed information the unique magic research progress and the surrounding environment can be continued, and an other showed progress rate 37.1% to 37.9%. Rain recalled the old memory of the past when he was Lynn. He think magic can do anything. It's not that everything is possible. There's more they can't do, but if they can create an oasis right in the middle of the desert, they can help travelers who are searching for water. Then Esther asked Lynn, can she ask him something? After this trip, can he create a few spells for her? Ones that everyone can learn and use easily. That can help people in trouble, and make people's lives a bit easier. Magic like that. Please create them with your hands. Logan note a new member, then he see Krista behind him, and he noticed his red eyes and black hair. He realized that he was Rain, and he remarked someone said a worn out. Oops, his mistake. He have a habit of speaking his thoughts out loud. As a disciple of one of the grade 8 schools, he was on his way to greet the noble Lord Rain when he ran into him here. But it seems he mentioned a magic duel just now. Or did he hear that wrong? Rain replied he heard it right. Since he seems so eager to compete, shall he give him a match? Logan stated so he think he can beat someone like him, and asked is that what he think? Rain asked is he scared? Should he give him a handicap? He won't use any combat magic. How about that? Is that still not enough? Then he will only use 3 spells developed by this club. In a surprise, Logan asked is he serious? Rain replied it doesn't seem like he is lose anyway. Logan stated this isn't just a failure, it's an utter oops, another mistake. But Lord Rain, do he know it takes 3 days to approve membership? So at this point, it's just a personal challenge. Rain exclaimed just gets to the point. Logan remarked if Lord Rain wins, he will give up on this club, and if any troublemakers show up, he will chase them away himself. But if he win, he will submit a withdrawal form to Delon. The reason for withdrawal could be, after meeting Logan from the Chi-Hack school, he felt an insurmountable barrier. Hearing that Krista entered the room while saying is he kidding? He is just giving up on a club. Logan replied outsiders should shut up. Rain added right, Krista stay out of this. Krista noted hey, snap out of it. Do he even know what's going on? Rain replied do he need to know? He is going to win anyway. He decide the time and date. He is ready whenever. Logan asked so he accept the conditions? He will arrange for a professor to referee. No need to delay. Let's do it tonight at 6, at the Dragon Blood Arena. Then see him there. Logan remarked he really caught a big one this time. The dean and the elders will be pleased. It's going to be a fantastic day. Meanwhile Krista asked Hayu to participate in a magic duel. Did he forget his position here? Rain replied first year at Delon University. She demanded he stop joking around, but he remained unfazed as she glanced at him, turning away, while saying fine, do as he please. She is foolish to even concern herself with him. He asked why she's so angry. The senior student replied it's something logically incomprehensible, because he did it. Descendants of the magic lineage never engage in magic duels. At the moment, Rain notices a ring of dragon with its wings spread on the student finger. He thinks so he is a second-year student, and he asked why? The senior replied because there's too much to lose compared to what he gained. Honestly, he feel more puzzled than grateful. Why did he help? Rain stated it's not like he intended to help, but let's say it's for an assignment. The senior remarked anyway, he is grateful. But it seems like Lord Rain underestimates Logan too much. Rain asked really, is he that impressive? He replied Logan is a king-type magician, and particularly strong against general magicians who specialize in long-range magic. Plus, with his strong physical abilities and personality, he's fought in several magic duels before, and his victory rate is over 90%. He has embarked on a very reckless venture. It's all because he spoke carelessly. He might have exaggerated when he argued with Logan, but honestly it's not that grand of a club. He grew up in the countryside. The villagers pooled together their money to pay for his university tuition, so he thought to repay them in his own small way, to make the village a better place to live. That's why he joined this club and started researching magic. But things haven't gone as planned. The anxiety and restlessness only grew as time slipped by. He clung to it for personal reasons, but ultimately, he achieved nothing. It's pathetic, isn't it? It seems like it's God's will for him to quit. He is really sorry. He will be the one to participate in the magic duel. Rain asked what's so pathetic about it. He is the one who agreed to the magic duel. On that note, can he borrow a few books related to club magic? He need to get familiar with them for the duel. He will return them when it's over. He tried to stop Rain, but Rain stated do he know why Archmage Lynn started magic? That was to survive. Everyone starts out, for personal reasons. As he leaves the room, Rain thinks has the rumor already spread? This is turning out to be bigger than expected. At the moment, someone shouted his name from behind. He immediately turned around and saw the person was none other than his Aunt Ellen. She commented that she had finally located him and asked, "Have he been well?" He asked why is she here for, and asked has she been well. She replied well her foot. She has been sleep deprived recently, and thanks to him, she is wide awake now. She hears that he is participating in a magic duel against Logan from the 8 major schools, right? The whole school is in an uproar, isn't it? She must have heard wrong. It's true out that our cute little nephew sure stirred up quite a mess. Looks like she need to drink some liquor today. Rain noted his head's going to split. She walks away while saying if he get hit by Logan, it's going to hurt several times more than this. What is he exaggerating, you fool? Seeing her, Rain asked, is she worried? She immediately turned around saying worried? Do she look like a pathetic aunt who worries and asks around about a guy like him? Don't flatter himself. He will only come to his senses after getting a good beating from Logan. As she's about to leave, Rain apologizes to her, and he notes he didn't realize it was something he shouldn't have done, but he assures her it won't bring shame to their family. She replied despite his intentions, it has already become a matter tied to the family's honor. Because of his rash actions, in the worst case, it could end with expulsion. But it's fine. He was really annoyed by those who laughed at him as a worthless offshoot anyway. Since he has started it, trample them properly when he go. The name of the Ludwick family is on his shoulders. Make sure others can't even think of climbing up to his level. Show them a proper lesson. A while later, as both of them arrived at the arena, Rain thinks of course, Aunt Ellen, that was his intention from the beginning. At the campus, a student with brown hair asked, what's going on? Why is it so noisy? A student with green hair asked the running students. Hey, where are they going? One of them replied. The useless prince and the muscle-brained idiot are fighting. Meanwhile, many students and professors gathered to watch the fight. Professor Caroline inquired, which side is he here to support? Logan, his fellow student from the same school? Or Rain, his student? Professor Owen replied, status, bloodline, and academic background don't matter. He will just cheer for whoever is overwhelmingly strong. The referee professor chuckled and remarked, you're naive, then announced, he is in charge of judging this magic duel. Since this magic duel is officially approved by the school will manage the winner's conditions to be fulfilled by the loser on a school level. Alright then, contestants from both sides, come forward. Logan removed his top and threw it away, with a devilish smile on his face. Seeing a magic engraved on his chest, a student remarked, wow, he came well prepared. Isn't that a bit much for the useless prince? From the crowd, Krista noted, that's right, there's no way he can beat that. She was surprised when Gertrude Panton said, see, she came after all, Mississippi. She replied, she didn't come because she was worried. She came to watch that bastard get knocked around. Gertrude Panton replied she understood. Professor Caroline thought, it takes a long time for apprentice mages to activate their magic. That's why king mages, who can engage in close combat immediately, are a threat. So, how does he plan to deal with him? Rain Ludwig. However, Rain swung a wooden stick, surprising the professor and everyone watching as the wooden stick was revealed to be a broom. Logan stated, he thought he was holding some kind of wooden stick. But it's a broom? Seeing that, the gathered students started laughing, saying, is he here to clean? The genius prince is fighting with a broom. Krista covered her face in embarrassment. The referee inquired about it. Rain replied he borrowed it from the library. It's a good thing the cleaning is over. The referee asked, is going to use that in the magic duel? Rain inquired, is that not allowed? The referee noted, no, that's not what he means. Logan asked, is he asking him to look? He was so arrogant back then, but he guess he is going to sweep it all away with a broom? Just end it like this, Prince Rain. Don't show himself in a shameful way and just give up. Rain replied, it's always been like this since he came to college. It's really heartbreaking from the perspective of a senior. Logan asked, what does he mean by senior? Rain stated, what's with these young people these days, always talking back? He is not some kind of witch who casts spells with her words. Since when did mages become a tribe that fights with words? This angered Logan, and he leaned towards Rain. The referee stated, they are too close, so back off, both of them. He will make a final confirmation before the duel. If Logan loses, he will act as a guard for the local development magic club until graduation, and Rain will drop out of Delon if he loses. There can be no appeal against the judgment. Will they accept it? Both of them replied yes, they accept. The referee noted, good, then, step back. The duel will begin in 10 seconds. Then the clock started to ring. The students that are still on campus shouted while running toward the arena, it's time to start. So let's hurry up. Seeing them, Ellen's assistant inquired, "Is it okay for him not to go, Professor? She will handle the rest." She replied she is not going. The assistant remarked, "She is so calm. Her nephew is about to do something big." Ellen asked, "Is she saying she is not usually calm?" Flustered, the assistant replied, "No, she don't mean it like that." And Ellen thought, "Brother, maybe rain is the vessel of the wise. There's no need to watch. The outcome has already been decided." The referee announced, "Begin the duel." Logan laughed and declared, "Watch carefully, Prince. Once he drop out, he will never have another chance to see something like this." The Chi-Hack School's secret technique for physical enhancement. Gertrude Panton noted, "She guess he thinks he can end it in one blow." Hubert and a professor observed, "Look at the activation speed, it's not bad. This is a magic that can break bones or rupture internal organs if even a little bit of magic control goes wrong." As expected, he's one of the top students of the Chi-Hack School. Meanwhile, Rain stood still, doing nothing. Logan stated, "He will finish him off in 10 seconds. Hearing that, Rain sighed. Logan then rushed towards him with great speed, preparing to land a punch while thinking, the useless prince can't even move. Even if he did, the result would be the same. Physical enhancement is a magic that performs both offense and defense at the same time. It creates a wall of magic on the surface of the body for defense, and at the point of impact, it explodes to damage the opponent. There's no way to stop this. He will end it with one shot. He will crush that annoying face to pieces. Rain used the broom to deflect his punch, and struck him so hard that Logan flew backwards with force. Seeing this, the students and professors were shocked. Professor Owen thought, the sealing technique of the Osarius school. The sealing technique devised by Grand Mage Lynn, who 300 years ago raised the Osarius school. It's the fencing technique of Grand Mage Lynn. It's said that it was established with the help of hero Esther, who believed that even magicians needed strength for close combat or melee situations. How did the successor to the Ludwick family learn that? At that moment, Logan regained consciousness and quickly got back on his feet. Professor Caroline thought the broom handle didn't even break. It would be normal for a broom to shatter if it hit a body wrapped in physical enhancement. Did he increase the strength of the object with magic? That's some terrifying magic control. What is that, child? Meanwhile, Rain sighed, and the gathered crowd started cheering for Rain, discussing, did he just see that? Logan was bounced off. Logan thought, what was that? Physical enhancement was broken by a mere cleaning broom? And by the useless prince of all people? Rain stated, 10 seconds have passed, but it's not over yet. It's not fun to bully a promising junior. He will finish him off in 6 seconds. Come on, charge at him. Logan thought, he is struggling with the situation he has been caught up in. He gritted his teeth in anger and stomped on the ground with full magic power, causing the ground to break and disrupt Rain's footing. Then Logan kicked the broken ground rocks at Rain, who blocked them with his broom. Taking advantage of the situation, Logan disappeared from view. Rain looked around and cast a spell on the ground. At that moment, another rock was launched at him from behind, which he blocked again with the broom. As he did so, Logan sneaked up behind him and kicked him, causing an explosion on impact. As the dust settled, Logan was the only one standing at the explosion place, while his foot stuck in the ground. Rain stated, before he start digging, it's magic applied to the field. Is he curious about the name of the magic? Anyway, it's a 1-star spell, and this is a spell that creates a temporary water break when a flood occurs. It's a 2-star spell. How is it? Quite useful, right? The crowd was surprised by Rain's fighting style. Professor Owen thought, climbing onto the platform built with broken rock pieces to secure both visibility and distance. It's a strategy to overcome Logan's close combat techniques. It's impressive how he turned the ground into a mud pool, anticipating the attack and binding Logan's feet. Moreover, the 2 necessary magic spells are activated almost at the same time. Professor Caroline thought, who would think of that as mental arithmetic? She stated, it looks like it's almost over now. Professor Owen replied, that's right. Meanwhile, Rain threw the broom toward Logan. This surprised the professors and everyone watching. Krista shouted, what is he doing, you idiot? All he has to do is throw a long-distance spell and it will be over. Instantly, Logan rushed toward Rain, breaking the broom that was thrown at him, and was about to punch Rain with full force. To Logan's shock, he was suddenly covered in plant shoots that restrained him, surprising everyone watching. Rain stated, and this is a magic that breathes life into dead plants. Although the duration is only about 10 seconds, he can use it like this too, with a broomstick. Rain continued, he only used 3 spells as promised. Shall they end it now? Logan gritted his teeth in anger and cursed Rain. Logan thought, it can't end like this. He can't lose like this. but his thoughts were interrupted as the plant tightened its grip, causing him more pain. Rain noted, did he put in too much magic power? It's even worse because the vines are sticky. He needs to make improvements considering the nature of the plant and its ease of control. He then asked, do he feel pain? Don't worry, you'll be comfortable soon. Rain broke a branch from the plant and used it to scare Logan before moving away. Logan shouted, he said he did end it. Rain replied, what nonsense is he talking about? It's already over. Since he lost, keep his mouth shut. He knows it hurts when he is hit, right? From now on, stop doing bad things and live a better life. The plant lifted Logan into the air. Logan thought, this is the first time he feels such a thing. The world of magic is a place where only the fittest can survive. The branches then released Logan, and he began to fall. Rain stated, he's hung on for quite a while. It's a fairly practical magic. He thought magic duels only end when one side surrenders or is completely stretched out. He then hit the falling Logan in the face and remarked, since the match was decided earlier, let's not count this as an attack. Logan's supporters, both students and professors, were shocked by his defeat. Rain turned to the referee, who announced, the winner is Rain Ludwick. The crowd of students cheered for Rain. At that moment, a senior student approached Rain and thanked him, asking, how can he ever repay this kindness? Rain asked, what kindness? The 3 spells he wrote. No, the other spells too. The completion level is low, but he sensed it. He thinks his senior's efforts were not in vain. He is sorry, he was talking nonsense. But can he ask him one favor? Please make a lot of magic to develop their hometown in the future to the point where he doesn't have a chance to step in. He will do a good job, definitely. Rain bid the senior goodbye, who happily bowed before him. Rain thought, at this time, what would Esther say? No, let's not think about it. He is not Esther. Maybe he saved some face. Later that night, senior students discussed the event. One student noted, the useless archmage knocked Logan down. Another student asked, does that make sense? A third student added he saw it, clearly with his own eyes. Just as the Rivardans said, his skills were no joke. In the end, he even preached to Logan and blew him away. The second student asked, was he not the useless prince but the temperamental prince? Meanwhile, Logan, hearing all this while lying on the bed, stood up, feeling pain in his head. At that moment, Professor Owen, standing near the window, asked, how does he feel about tarnishing his school's name? Logan immediately turned around, saying Grandmaster. Professor Owen stated, he told him to address him as Professor here. Did he forget already? Logan replied, he is sorry, sir. Owen sighed and suggested he take a break. Logan replied, he nearly beat him to death. Professor Owen remarked, stop pretending to be a genius. Does he think he can do anything just because he is famous? Logan replied, no, he doesn't think so. The professor asked, do he know about Scalzi Ludwick? It seems students from the Leverton school are talking about him. They say that the old man exploited Rain for 3 years as an assistant. The fact that Scalzi, who is cold and indifferent, kept Rain under his wing for 3 years means Rain's skills are real. This man will someday become a key figure representing the magical world. So, from now on, try to get to know him. Logan thought, he will not acknowledge Sega's eldest son, and he replied, he doesn't like that low-level scoundrel. Next time, he will make sure he knows his place for sure. The professor noted, looks like it's not just his brain that doesn't work, even his eyes can't see properly. Nothing will change just because he refused to admit defeat. Logan asked, what does he mean by that, Professor? Owen remarked, he means that right now, he is looking at someone who was injured in a solo fight, which is supposed to be his specialty. It seems like he can't realize that Rain was the one who spared him in the fight. He is the one who experienced Rain's strength up close. But if he can't come to a conclusion, then do as he wish. And since he lost the battle, make sure to keep his promises. That's all. Logan thought he admit he's strong, but he wasn't afraid of him. He was just concerned with saving face. That's it. 15 minutes ago, before the duel between Rain and Logan, at Delon Central Library, Rain noted this library is the largest in the Empire, contains a diverse collection of historical books and personal records, in addition to a massive amount of other books. Regardless of how he think about it, it's strange that he inherited the story of the great man and his memoirs. Rain asked, where can he find these books? The librarian replied, if it's these books, here it is. The first book was Life and the Salvation of Kai's Castle. The second was Freed, the Priestess of the Fire Dragon. A smile appeared on Rain's face as he looked at the books. He recalled an old memory when Freed stated, let's make a bet. Which one of them will have a larger autobiography? Lynn replied. What's the point of self-driving cars? They are all after money, aren't they? Fried asked. Is he not confident in himself? Is he afraid because his opponent in the bet is the dragon priestess? Lynn replied. Okay, let's try it even if the outcome is clear. Fried remarked. If she provoke him like this, he has no choice but to respond. Lynn asked. What is he talking about? Who brought this up in the first place? Esther added. Then she will bet on Lynn. Fried asked. She always encourages this child? Lynn replied. It's okay, everyone has the right to choose. And asked. But why him? What's the reason? Esther replied. Just because of this and that. Lynn asked. What? Is she trying to back off now? What's this? Just say it, she replied. She suspects that she will not live long because of her traditional lifestyle, and Kai's is the oldest in their group, so it's likely that his life will be shorter than mine, and Fried won't be much different from them. But Lynn is young, perhaps he has the longest lifespan among them, isn't that right? So he's the most likely person to have the largest autobiography. But naturally, no one knows what the future holds. However, she hoped that she will be able to see Lynn's greatness for herself one day. At present, Rain thought, but he was the first one to die. Congratulations, Fried, she is the one who won. He sat down and compared the width of both books, thinking Kai's life story seems a bit larger. The life story and achievements of Kai's castle. He was praised as the saint of archers. He founded a school focused on drinking alcohol and archery and trained many students. He even married a noblewoman and left descendants. He is glad he had a happy life. Then he opened the other book, Fried, the priestess of the fire dragon. A little while later, as he read the book, he thought, there are no remaining records of her after 1168. It's certain that she led the Republic for a long time as a sorceress, but her whereabouts couldn't be found after that, and she didn't appear again until 1200. Therefore, the Association of Republic Sorceresses officially declared Fried's death. The girl who loved loud things died quietly alone. Well, that could happen, because people change. Recalling her, he thought, no, that makes no sense. He knows Fried better than anyone. It's completely impossible for this loud woman to die alone. What happened to her? Could it be that she disappeared because of someone else's doing? The mage who saved the world, without anyone knowing she disappeared. He paused, realizing he was damaging the pages by gripping them too tightly. Gently, he released the pages and smoothed them out with his hand. He thought, this book won't be enough. Should he also search in the books about the Republic? Just then, junior librarian Karen approached him and said, if he is looking for Esther's history, please read this book. She personally recommended it. Rain considered, is this a book about Esther? Then there's no need for him to see it, he replied. Thank you for that. As he looked at the book's title, his eyes widened in surprise. Trina, the Virgin of Ash. As he was about to delve deeper into his thoughts, she asked, sir, does he need anything else? He replied, oh no, nothing. Thank you for recommending the book. He started reading Trina, the Virgin of Ash. That bold girl became a priestess. The shaman who leads the spirits holds the highest rank among sorcerers. It's not a position just anyone can attain. Did she become a priestess as Fried's successor? Noticing her lifespan, he wondered, can people really live that long? Does this mean something? As for the information related to Fried, he doubted its credibility. He thought, he needs to find a book from the Republic. It's already time for the Magic Duel. Does he just need to silence that person? Actually, he doesn't care much about that. Since he said he did do it, he think he should go. He asked her, can she keep this book for a while? If anyone wants to borrow it, please don't give it to them. She replied, it's hard to keep it for a long time, but she will keep it for now. Don't worry, he stated. He will be back in 15 minutes. After finishing the Magic Duel with Logan, he ran back to the library. As he arrived, Karen seemed confused and was looking for something. She asked, sir, he didn't take the book when he left, did he? Rain replied he didn't and asked, why is she asking? Did the book disappear? She replied yes. By the time she finished her work and returned to her seat, the book was already gone. Rain asked, could someone else have taken it? She replied, that's impossible. If a book is taken without being checked out, the magical alarm goes off. Rain thought, exactly at this time. How could this have happened? He doesn't think she's lying. She exclaimed, she is really sorry. It's shameful that the book disappeared after she promised to keep it. Rain replied, contact him as soon as she find it, or she can just buy a new one. He will pay for it. Please assume that he lost it and place an order. If she gives her a receipt later, he will pay. She replied, no, there's no need to go that far. He noted, there's no need to refuse. How much is the book? Even if he does it on his own responsibility, that's okay. she remarked. Fine. She will deal with it, as he said. Rain replied, yes, please. He thought, it's not her job to be so stiff, but she's a sincere person. She stated she was surprised to find someone like him here. Really, thank you very much, Sir Rain. At night, as he lay on his bed, he thought, now that he think about it, it seems like he has heard a lot of people saying thank you to him, and because of that, he is just wasting his time. Yet he doesn't feel bad, which is surprising. Is it because his body has changed? Or is it because he has more time in his life? Anyway, about this incident, there are a lot of strange things. The book, he left it to Esther, but it came back to him. As soon as he tried to search for his friends of the past, Trina's biography disappeared. Could Trina have something to do with this? That's impossible. She's already dead. She died hundreds of years ago. Kai's, Esther, and Fried too. The people knew. When he was Lynn, they're all dead. Then who's doing this? My head hurts. Then he opened the brown book that someone sent him through an owl. Rudian appeared from it and showed the system window. Seeing his progress, his eyes widened in surprise. He thought, why did his progress increase? Did using magic against humans increase progress? So, if he had a choice of any opponent, then was using violence the right way to increase progress all this time? There was a need to forcefully open the door to truth. How could that be possible? Let's not get carried away and think about it carefully. Power rules the world. It's true that it's logical. But he didn't think it could be done just by using force. Otherwise, he wouldn't do anything else. What's certain is that when magic was used against non-living targets, there was an increase of 0.1%. It's true that after the human fight with Logan, it increased by 0.8%. At the moment, he has no other evidence. It might be worth trying. However, using magic against living creatures within the school would be a problem. In that case, why doesn't he try becoming an adventurer? Because he needs money to buy the book as well. That wouldn't be bad. Right. The next day in the classroom, the girls greeted him. Good morning, Lord Rain. One girl asked, do he remember her by any chance? They are in the same class. Another girl noted she lived right next to his dormitory. A third girl remarked she saw him in her dream yesterday. What she mean is, her words were interrupted by Rain, who said he is sorry, but he has no intention of remembering their names or becoming friends with them, so could they please move aside? The red-haired girl noted, Lord Rain, he is too much. The girl with green hair exclaimed, he really has a way with jokes. The girl with brown hair remarked, there's no need to be so shy. Hearing that, a boy with green hair noted, hey, look over there. Rain is deceiving those girls again. Look at him, flirting with them. First thing in the morning. Does he not have classes? Another student replied, truly, he's the top when it comes to charisma. Krista approached the girls and stated, hey there, can they please clear the way? The girls returned to their seats. Gertrude Panton approached Rain and whispered, Lord, wasn't his real nickname the Casanova? Then she moved away with a smile. Rain sighed and said hey to Krista, who remarked, could he please not talk to her? Rain became confused, asked why is she angry? She replied she told him not to talk to her. Didn't they discuss this before? She said she wouldn't care anymore. Rain thought, is she angry because of the magic duel? And stated, that's right. They are neither friends nor anything else. She noted, she is not exactly angry. Honestly, it was quite satisfying. His act of pretending to be weak despite being strong was truly unsightly. A strong person should show their strength. So straighten up and walk with confidence. He defeated both her and Logan. Besides, thanks to that, now he can trample him without hearing any talk of bullying the weak, so she is thankful. Be prepared. Next time she won't just flatten him, she will grind him into powder. Meanwhile, one student exclaimed, hey, it looks like Rain, the Prince of Charisma, and the valedictorian are going to clash. What an incredible matchup. Rain asked, first period is with Professor Owen. Is she going to keep standing there? She will get points deducted if she does. She replied, right, that's true. That was a close call, and thank him. Gertrude Panton thought, their sweet lady, if she practiced her declaration of war speech all night, at least do it properly. At the weekend in the Central Library, Karen stated, there's been a problem. Rain asked, what's the matter? She replied, it seems all the books related to Trina have sold out. She has inquired with all the publishers in the Empire, and they're all sold out. Rain asked about the reason? She remarked, she is not sure of the details, but the Golden Children of the Dragon Orthodox Church's Heresy Interrogation Agency have suddenly put all books related to Trina on the censorship list this year. He asked, has Trina been judged a heresy? She replied, it seems so. Rain thought, they made a posthumous heresy judgment. Why on earth is this happening? And he asked, has she read that book? She replied, of course. As a librarian of the Central Library, it's a must-read. Being a disciple of the great Mage Lynn and the priestess of the fire dragon, Freed, that person has left behind many great achievements, just like those two. He asked, was there anything strange in it? Like something about black magic? She replied, strange parts? Not by her standards. And since it's a biography, even if there were dangerous contents, they would have been filtered out by the censorship. Rain thought, the mystery only deepens, and stated he will have to go to the black market. She asked why go there? He replied, everything's available there. From books judged as heresy to artifacts eroded by the abyss, there's nothing that he can't find. He should be able to find books related to Trina quite easily. She replied, that's right. If it's the black market, he might be able to find it, but she is worried about the price. The rarity of it being a censored item would have driven the price up significantly. He thought, money really is the issue. Since the book is under suspicion of heresy, it would be too risky to take out a loan from the family to purchase it. She noted, it'd be at least 3 gold coins. With her salary, it's just impossible. Rain thought, he need to find a way to get the money first. He thought that, at least in this life, he wouldn't have to worry about money. A way to make a quick fortune. Should he sell magic scrolls on the streets? Or become a magic instructor? In times like these, a high-risk, high-return strategy is the only way to go. Let's see, the biggest bet he can place is his own life. Earning money by risking his life? Remembering something, he turned around, saying she has been a great help. She asked then where is he going? He replied, there's something he wants to try doing. She asked about it. He stated, he is thinking of becoming an adventurer and earning some money in the process. She shouted, an adventurer? For someone from a noble house to engage in such lowly work, that's unacceptable, my lord. She will resolve it on her end, so please just wait a little longer. He remarked, if all goes well, he can quickly earn the amount required. It's the fastest method he can think of right now. She noted she is ashamed. The next morning, an old person asked, what's this? Rain Ludwick checked out the biography of Trina. First years aren't allowed to check out books during their first semester. Who approved this loan? She replied, it seems Karen did it, judging by the time. She's only been here for 4 months. He asked, where is she now? She replied, today is her day off. He asked, did she not receive the loan regulations? She noted, that's a possibility too, but Rain might have insisted on it. She's not the kind of child to make such a mistake. A boy with blue hair added, could it be a mistake in the name? He meant to write the name of Professor Owen, who comes often, but Karen's handwriting is so messy, it's hard to tell if it's Ellen or Rain. With everyone talking about Rain lately, she might have written it wrong in the confusion. Besides, lately, Karen has been enjoying secret meetings with Lord Rain. When you're in love, anyone could make such a mistake. The old person stated, really? If that's the case, then there's no problem. After the meeting, let's correct the borrower's name to Professor Ellen Ludwick.
In the past, the concept of an adventurer was often associated with a perilous lifestyle, where individuals would risk their lives for the sake of money. This image conjured up thoughts of rough and rugged individuals, often gathered in shady taverns, ready to take on dangerous quests. Adventurers were seen more as thrill-seekers or mercenaries willing to put their lives on the line for a reward. However, this perception has significantly shifted over time. In the present day, adventurers are no longer merely seen as reckless individuals or mercenaries. Instead, they are viewed as skilled combat experts who provide valuable assistance to society. Whether it's protecting people, battling dangerous beasts, or taking on challenging tasks, adventurers have earned a reputation for being reliable and heroic figures. The top-tier adventurers, in particular, are almost regarded as heroes, reflecting how much the world's view of adventurers has evolved. As Rain entered the Adventurers Guild, he noticed a bustling scene with many people engaged in discussions. Amidst the chatter, he overheard a conversation between 2 individuals. One person lamented about the current state of business, mentioning that it was poor due to the absence of labyrinths, which are usually a source of work and income for adventurers. The second person responded with frustration, explaining that ever since the Red Dragon Legion departed, the Red Mountains had been overrun with beasts. This situation had created a lucrative opportunity for others who were capitalizing on the beast infestation, while he was stuck in a less advantageous position at the guild. As Rain continued through the Adventurers Guild, he overheard another group of people talking. One person, wearing a pink scarf, mentioned that there was a lot of commotion lately about rat spiders. A second person with blue hair responded, noting that their numbers were indeed alarming and questioning if they were dangerous. A third person, wearing a brown scarf, acknowledged the danger but pointed out that the bounty for dealing with them was quite attractive. Rain then approached the front desk, where a girl greeted him and inquired how she could assist. She noted his uniform and identified him as a student from Delon. Rain expressed his intention to register as an adventurer. The front desk girl asked if he had any identification, to which Rain provided his student ID card. He then inquired about the registration time. The girl informed him that, given his status as a Delon student, his identity could be verified immediately, and the process would take no more than 10 minutes. As she examined his ID, she noticed his family name, Ludwick, and was taken aback, realizing he was from a prominent and influential noble family. She wondered why someone of his background would want to become an adventurer and gazed at him with curiosity. Rain interrupted the front desk girl's thoughts by asking if there was anything else he needed to do. She handed him a form and instructed him to fill out the required information, specifically noting the importance of the last section. Curious, Rain asked about this section. She explained that it was a special agreement for nobles, which included a clause stating that the guild would not be responsible for any personal issues arising from adventure activities. She mentioned that this agreement was established due to past instances where many people, about 100 years ago, had tried to hold the guild accountable for such issues. Rain responded with an understanding, acknowledging the reason behind the special agreement. The front desk girl then handed Rain his adventure badge and informed him that his registration was complete. His current rank was Iron. She explained the ranking system. Ranks progress from Iron to Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, and finally Diamond. Rain inquired if everyone starts at Iron rank. She clarified that not necessarily. One's combat experience or skills prior to becoming an adventurer can influence the starting rank. For mages, the rank reflects their adventure grade based on their skills and ability to handle requests. Rain acknowledged this information. The girl added that, since he hadn't taken the ranking test, he was starting at Iron rank. Rain understood the explanation. The front desk girl mentioned there were additional details Rain might want to know, but he felt he had enough information and thanked her. She wished him well, advising that as his rank increased, he would have access to a wider range of tasks and encouraged him to do his best. Rain thought about his new status as an adventurer, realizing that with his badge, he could now enter dangerous areas and undertake bounties, like the one for eliminating beasts. Noting he had 4 silver coins, he decided to start by hunting the rat spiders that had been discussed. Later, as Rain reviewed the request for rat spiders on the guild's board, he noted that the bounty was 2 silver coins per spider. He reasoned that the low bounty indicated they were likely weak. Determined to catch as many as possible, he resolved to head out and start his quest. A while later, Rain arrived at the base of Dragon's Peak and observed the mountain, reflecting on how much it had changed. His thoughts were interrupted by a shopkeeper selling high-grade life potions for just 10 copper coins each, with each potion providing an extra life. Rain noted that since the dragons who once managed this area had left, it had been overrun by monsters. As people started purchasing the potions, with some buying 1 and others buying 4, the shopkeeper noticed Rain and called out to him. He warned Rain that the area beyond was infested with monsters and offered him a potion. Rain declined the offer. After walking for a while, Rain spotted the stone stairs leading to the shrine of the fire dragon. He noticed they were still well maintained and thought about climbing them in the past with his friends, recalling fond memories. He thought about Fried and felt relieved that her hometown was safe. Determined, Rain declared to himself that he would rid the land of all the pests. Just then, a person with green hair called out to him. The individual, named Renlam, addressed Rain, recognizing him as a mage and noting that there was no point in trying to hide it, as Renlam's keen observation skills made it impossible to fool her. Rain responded to Renlam, saying he wasn't trying to hide his Mage status and that anyone could identify him by his uniform. He questioned Renlam's showy behavior. Renlam dismissed Rain's concerns and insisted that he join their party, as they were in need of a Mage. Rain asked for more details about the party. Renlam introduced Bart, pointing to a large figure behind Rain. Rain was taken aback by Bart's enormous size and exclaimed in shock, questioning how someone so monstrous-looking could be human. Renlam responded to Rain's reaction by saying it was harsh to judge Bart based on his appearance, explaining that despite his looks, Bart was actually quite sensitive. Renlam then introduced another party member, Sammy, who was the cleric responsible for healing. Sammy greeted Rain warmly, saying he was pleased to meet him and was in charge of healing. Renlam introduced herself as a genius archer and encouraged everyone to do their best. Meanwhile, Rain questioned whether the group was a criminal gang, targeting rookie adventurers. Renlam asked why Rain would think they were a criminal gang. Rain expressed his suspicion, questioning if Renlam's group was involved in human trafficking, pretending to recruit party members only to kidnap them. This accusation visibly shocked Renlam. Meanwhile, Rain noticed Bart's intense gaze, which made him a bit uneasy. He challenged Bart, ready to fight, but was surprised when Bart's eyes welled up with tears and he began crying. Renlam quickly reassured Bart, telling him not to cry and explaining that such misunderstandings were not uncommon. Rain sighed and asked Renlam why they would want someone like him, an iron-rank adventurer, in their party. Renlam reassured Rain, saying that ranks didn't matter to them. She explained that she could judge people's strength by their scent and mentioned that Bart was concerned about Rain facing the monster-infested mountain path alone. Rain's thoughts then drifted to Esther. Sammy added that many young adventurers came to the area to earn money and often ended up in accidents, but they were not forcing Rain to join them. He was free to go alone if he preferred. Feeling a bit disappointed for having initially misjudged them, Rain thanked them for the advice and said he was more comfortable working alone as he moved away. Renlam acknowledged Rain's decision with understanding and reassured Bart not to worry too much. She then announced that they would hunt the rat spiders themselves, having already identified their habitat, and expressed determination to succeed this time. Rain, overhearing their conversation, turned down and grabbed Renlam's shoulder just as she was about to explain her plan. Rain introduced himself and offered his magical assistance if needed. With this, Rain decided to join the party. He set off with Renlam, Bart, and Sammy to hunt the rat spiders. After a while of searching for rat spiders, Rain commented that they had been walking for a long time without seeing any signs of the creatures and questioned if they were really present. Bart explained that rat spiders were very shy and typically avoided human sight, but their presence could be detected by marks where they had gnawed on trees. He reassured Rain that the creatures must be nearby. Bart then proposed that the profits from their hunt be divided into 4 parts, which Rain agreed to. While Renlam examined the tracks left by the rat spiders, Sammy asked Rain if it was his first time as an adventurer, and if he knew the habits of rat spiders. Rain admitted he did not and requested an explanation. Sammy explained that rat spiders are monsters with the head of a rat and the body of a spider. Their colony is structured with a queen, soldiers, and workers. The worker class are omnivorous pests that gnaw at trees, while the soldier class is aggressive towards humans. Rain inquired about the queen, noting that she wasn't mentioned in the request. Sammy clarified that the colony in question didn't have a queen. The strategy was to focus on killing the soldier class, as the queen rarely surfaced and was not a primary target. Rain questioned why they should leave the queen alone and not attempt to kill all the rat spiders. Bart explained that the queen was far more dangerous than the soldiers. Capturing the queen would require a large-scale operation and significant resources, so their focus was on eliminating the soldiers who posed a direct threat to daily life. Rain wondered if a monster of the queen's level would have a substantial bounty. Renlam, inspecting the long grass nearby, advised against pursuing the queen, stating that even experienced adventurers like herself and Bart would find facing her challenging. Renlam then discovered the rat spider's hunting ground and eagerly jumped in to start the hunt. She used his archery skills to take down the rat spiders, while Bart employed his axe skills for the same purpose. Meanwhile, Rain and Sammy stayed back, observing the battle without actively participating. Renlam and Bart coordinated their efforts to fight the rat spiders, watching out for each other during the battle. Suddenly, another adventurer shouted from behind, warning them that the rat spiders were swarming in their direction. Renlam realized that the rat spiders had picked up their trail and were following them. She instructed Bart to finish off the current swarm quickly to prevent the approaching adventurers from interfering. Bart complied and increased his pace. Meanwhile, Rain observed as Bart, Renlam, and the other adventurers' party continued to combat and eliminate the rat spider swarm. Rain questioned whether he really didn't need to fight, given that they had agreed to split the profits equally. Sammy responded that his role was to assist with lighting the campfire and preparing drinking water later on. Rain expressed confusion about why they had recruited him if he wasn't expected to join the battle. Sammy explained that Renlam and the others genuinely wanted to help him, just as they had helped Sammy when he needed money for a priesthood exam. Sammy shared that even though he had earned enough money, they continued to include him in their party, which made him feel valued and supported. Rain asked if this support was an example of unconditional love, suggesting it sounded like something that would please a deity. Sammy agreed, noting that while he wasn't sure why, he felt a profound sense of camaraderie with Renlam and Bart that went beyond religious or divine explanations. He described it as a genuine desire to be together, as fellow human beings, which made their time together enjoyable and overwhelming. Feeling slightly embarrassed for oversharing, Sammy apologized to Rain, saying he felt it was inappropriate for someone who serves a god to talk so much about personal feelings. Rain remarked on how pleasant it was to travel with others, recalling his own experiences traveling with friends and specifically thinking about Trina. He then asked Sammy if he knew anything about Trina. Sammy recognized the name Trina, referring to her as the Priestess of Ashes, and confirmed that he knew about her. When Rain asked if Trina had ever been labeled a heretic by the church, Sammy responded that he thought she might have been, but he wasn't entirely sure. Meanwhile, a blue-haired adventurer chased a fleeing rat spider and quickly caught up to it. Just as he was about to kill the rat spider, a massive rat spider appeared before him, startling him. His shocked reaction was followed by screams echoing through the forest. Hearing the commotion, everyone became alert and looked around, wondering what was happening and if something was approaching them. At that moment, the enormous rat spider emerged from the dense forest, carrying the corpse of the adventurer who had been screaming earlier. Bart and Renlam, witnessing the terrifying sight, were visibly nervous and questioned the reality of the situation. Meanwhile, the other adventurers were horrified and began sweating profusely upon realizing that they were facing the queen of the rat spiders. Seeing the queen of the rat spiders, Rain turned to Sammy and asked what was happening, noting that they had been told the queen never came above ground. Sammy, equally shocked, remarked that the queen was unusually large, twice the size of a normal queen, and that there were no records of such a creature in any documents. Renlam explained that the queen's appearance was a consequence of having left it alone for too long. The rat queen emitted a deafening scream that caused Rain's party to become dizzy and experience pain in their heads. Meanwhile, the other adventurers, overwhelmed with fear, began fleeing from the queen. Bart, trying to maintain control of the situation, urged the adventurers not to turn their backs on the queen and to confront it head-on. At the same time, Sammy observed a group of rat spiders nearby reacting to the queen's scream. Sammy quickly warned Bart and Renlam that they needed to retreat. Rain questioned why they should retreat over just one large creature. Sammy explained that it wasn't just about the queen. When she appeared, the other rat spiders would form a slaughtering horde. As the rat spiders began attacking the fleeing adventurers, Renlam started fighting them off, expressing frustration and criticizing the newbies for their lack of courage. Bart advised Renlam that simply dealing with the rat spiders would not be sufficient, and that they needed to target the queen directly. Renlam agreed and gave orders to Sammy to care for the injured newbies, while instructing Rain to protect Sammy. Renlam then focused on the queen, drawing her attention to Queen and launching 4 arrows simultaneously, all of which struck her. Observing Renlam's simultaneous arrow attack on the queen, Rain thought of the impressive impact shooting technique called Kai's. Meanwhile, a group of rat spiders charged at Renlam, but was swiftly defeated by Bart's axe attacks, which surprised Rain. Bart then charged towards the queen, who was injured from Renlam's arrows. He leaped into the air and delivered a powerful axe strike aimed at the queen's head. As Bart's axe attack landed on the queen, the fleeing adventurers believed it was a decisive blow, thinking they had successfully defeated the queen. Rain, however, noticed a black substance oozing from the queen's injury and shouted at Bart to move away, warning him that touching it could be deadly. Bart, hearing the warning, released his grip on his axe and quickly jumped back. Sammy then observed the substance and identified it as a black liquid, not blood. The group was astonished to see the queen still moving despite the severe injury. The queen used her hand to remove Bart's axe from her wounded head, revealing that the axe was melting due to the black liquid. In a startling display, the queen regenerated her injured eye and head, shocking everyone with the unexpected recovery. Suddenly, the queen lunged at Bart, biting his left arm. Bart experienced intense pain and struggled to free his arm from the queen's grasp. Meanwhile, Renlam shot an arrow at the queen while being attacked by 2 rat spiders. The arrow struck the queen in the face, but Renlam continued to fend off the surrounding rat spiders, shouting, "Get lost, you weaklings, get out of my way." Seeing the group struggling against the queen, Sammy turned to Rain and told him to join the fight and attack the queen, assuring Rain that he was fine. Rain did not immediately respond to Sammy because he was preoccupied with thoughts of the black liquid, which he recognized as dark poison associated with black magic that devours the soul. He realized that this was the same dark magic that had killed him in the past and began to sweat profusely. As he looked around, Rain concluded that a black magician must be nearby. Having strengthened the queen, he suspected that these dark magicians were close by. Sammy, noticing Rain's distress, grabbed his shoulder and urged him to get a grip, explaining that he was the only one left who could use attack spells, as Sammy himself couldn't. Sammy expressed his concern about not wanting to lose their comrades. Rain then turned around and saw that Renlam was being pinned down by several rat spiders and Bart's left hand was still trapped in the queen's jaws. Rain asked urgently how much they would earn for taking down the queen, requesting the information quickly. Sammy informed Rain that taking down the queen would yield around 20 gold coins, which was equivalent to the bounty for 1,000 rat spiders. Rain considered this a worthwhile reward and decided to act. He cast a spell on the arrow Renlam had previously lodged in the queen, causing intense pain. The attack drew the queen's attention, prompting her to immediately begin healing herself. Rain followed up by casting a light spell that blinded the rat queen and her minions. Using the opportunity created by the blindness, he employed his plant magic to throw Bart and Renlam to a safer position. He instructed Sammy to attend to Bart and Renlam. Turning to the other adventurers, Rain urged them to ensure the healing priest was protected and to form defensive positions quickly if they wanted to escape alive. The group surrounded Sammy as instructed. Rain then launched another attack aimed at cutting one of the queen's legs, but she immediately healed it, prompting Rain to think that losing a leg didn't hinder her at all. Realizing that he needed to engage the queen at close range, Rain rushed towards her, fighting through her minions along the way. Meanwhile, Sammy, while healing Renlam, expressed concern for Rain's safety. Rain, approaching the queen, used a fireball spell to create a distraction while setting up a 3-star magic circle. However, he was surprised when the queen's speed disrupted the magic circle, leading him to doubt the effectiveness of the 3-star spell and the limits of his magic usage. Staying calm, Rain decided he needed to understand the enemy better. He activated Bell Sidious and was surprised to observe that a 3-star black magic spell was being used on the Rat Queen. Rain quickly cast a spell to jump away from the Queen, reflecting on the high concentration of dark poison and realizing that enduring it with his body was impossible. He considered using Bell Sidious to intercept the poison but worried that desperate measures like 4-star magic might be too risky. He recognized that a failure could be fatal and suspected that a black magician was nearby. Faced with this high risk, Rain was torn, feeling desperate and unsure of what action to take. As Rain struggled with his thoughts, Renlum, observing him, believed Rain must have a plan. Despite his injuries, Renlum got up and moved towards the Queen. Sammy, noticing Renlum's severe bleeding, urged him to lie down, but Renlum insisted she was fine. Sammy continued to argue that Renlum was not okay. In response, Renlum shouted Sammy's name and instructed him to take care of Bart. Renlum moved forward toward the Queen, fighting off rat spiders along the way. An adventurer, noticing Renlum's condition, asked if she was okay. Renlum told him to stop worrying about her and to focus on dealing with the smaller rat spiders. Meanwhile, Rain continued to ponder his strategies and concluded that their current approach wasn't effective. He decided that retreating for now was necessary. Rain's thoughts were interrupted when he heard something smashing into the trees. Turning around, he was shocked to see the Queen hurling her offspring at him. One of the thrown offspring hit the branch where Rain was sitting, causing it to break and making Rain fall to the ground. The Queen immediately rushed to attack him, but Rain managed to defend himself by casting an earth wall spell to block her attack. As Rain was concerned about how to handle the Queen, an arrow struck the Queen's eye, causing her significant pain. Rain was perplexed as the Queen removed the arrow, and her eye quickly regenerated. The arrow had been fired by Renlum, who then taunted the Queen, saying she told Queen not to ignore her, damn rat bastard. The Queen charged towards Renlum, who nervously smiled and dropped her bow, standing still. As the Queen prepared to attack him, Rain, frustrated, was about to cast a light spell. However, Renlum quickly drew a dagger and threw it at the Queen, hitting her in the air. The Queen fell to the ground from the impact, and Renlum managed to evade the Queen's attack. Renlum declared she would distract the Queen and urged Rain to take her down. Rain thought he could remain unseen by hiding behind a rock to prepare a spell. Meanwhile, Renlum, severely injured and mentally exhausted, continued dodging attacks despite his weakened state. He pleaded with his body to hold on just a little longer, but his strength gave out. The Queen then landed a direct hit on her, causing Renlum to crash to the ground. Sammy attempted to assist Renlum, but other adventurers stopped him, warning that it was too dangerous. Meanwhile, Rain continued preparing his spell to attack the Queen. As the Queen aimed to crush Renlum, Sammy rushed forward and intervened, saving Renlum from the attack. Renlum, surprised, asked Sammy what he was doing. Sammy told Renlum that everyone needed to survive and return safely so they could all smile together again. He urged Renlum to stop acting recklessly and began healing her. Renlum apologized and said she would write an apology letter when they returned. Sammy agreed and insisted Renlum prepare for it. Both then readied themselves to confront the advancing Rat Queen, who charged towards them to attack. Rain's spell activated, creating a massive tornado of fire around the Rat Queen and setting it ablaze. Observing the spell, the others noted that the magic circle was formed by 4 triangles with runes inscribed as angle, Yolgyun, and explosion, and that it involved complex equations including 14 polynomials and 7 rational expressions. The spell culminated in a powerful explosion that ultimately killed the Queen. The adventurers were astonished by powerful magic spell. Meanwhile, Rain, leaning against a rock, thought to himself how he used to perform such feats effortlessly in his previous life. With the Queen's death, the influence over the rat spiders dissipated, causing them to revert to normal and flee. The adventurers quickly urged each other to prevent any of the escaping rat spiders from getting away. Sammy rushed to check on Bart's condition while Renlam observed the burned remains of the Rat Queen, reflecting on how Rain had taken down such a formidable foe with a single spell. Sammy began healing Bart, who was injured but had a strong constitution. Renlam, feeling dizzy from exhaustion, asked about Bart's condition. Sammy reassured her that Bart would survive and recover without major issues. Renlam sighed in relief and expressed gratitude for the outcome. Bart, concerned, apologized and asked if Renlam was okay. Renlam reassured him, saying she had received first aid and was fine, attributing their difficulties to bad luck. She was astonished by the Queen's unexpected regenerative abilities, noting that there were no records of such traits in the Guild's database. She also commented on Rain's impressive ability to defeat the Queen in a single attack. Rain was unconscious from magical overload. Sammy checked on him and assured that he would recover with rest. Renlam realized that Rain must have cast the powerful fire spell, and Sammy agreed. Renlam questioned why Rain had hidden behind a rock despite the Queen being in sight, noting that revealing himself would have gained him recognition. Sammy wondered about Rain's decision to stay concealed. Renlam emphasized that healing Rain was the immediate priority and suggested discussing other matters later. Meanwhile, Rain experienced a dream from his past life where he insisted on not having his name included in records. Fried questioned his request, and an old man expressed confusion about Rain's wish to avoid being listed as a hero, noting that it was intended to honor his contributions to humanity. In the dream, Esther asked Lynn if she disliked them, to which Fried responded with annoyance, calling Lynn a troublemaker. Lynn clarified that she wasn't on the journey for a grand mission or destiny like Kai's, Fried, or Esther. Instead, his journey was driven by personal curiosity and coincidence. He felt he didn't deserve to have his name included in records, fearing it might tarnish their reputation. Kai's then patted Lynn's head. Fried commented on Lynn's growing cuteness, calling his a reckless kid. Esther, surprised, asked if Fried was genuinely worried about that. Lynn clarified that his concern wasn't about worry but rather a logical observation. Esther reassured Lynn that despite what he might think, he was an important member of their party and shouldn't focus on self-sacrifice. Fried told Lynn to continue being himself, as usual, while Esther affirmed that the world recognizes him as a great mage of the heroes' party. Rain then woke up, finding himself being carried by Bart. He asked where he was, and Renlam informed him that they were on their way back to the academy. Rain thought about his return to the Golden Rose Academy, noting the exhaustion and relief that the Black Magician hadn't detected them. Bart then asked Rain if the fire spell was his doing, and Renlam confirmed his suspicion, insisting that Rain shouldn't lie about it. Rain acknowledged that he wasn't hiding his role in the spell, and Renlam revealed that she had reported the use of a merchant's scroll instead of Rain's spell to keep it a secret. Rain preferred to leave it as is. Renlam expressed his gratitude, noting that Rain's magic had been crucial in saving them and offering her thanks. Rain insisted that he hadn't done them a favor, while Sammy suggested giving all the reward money to Rain. Renlam agreed, but remarked that she had expected Rain to offer the money to everyone or suggest a fair distribution. Rain's reaction was one of surprise, noting that the reward was his rightful share. Renlam reflected that she might have expected too much from Rain. Rain, initially joking about keeping all the reward, later clarified that he only needed 5 gold coins and suggested the rest be split among the others. Bart insisted that Rain deserved the full reward, while Renlam emphasized that they owed Rain their lives and urged him to take the reward. Despite their insistence, Rain tried to downplay his contribution, telling them to take what they needed. Rain acknowledged Renlam's suggestion that they had all come together because of Renlam's efforts. Renlam proposed using their current situation to build connections, aiming to become the best adventurers, and Rain agreed that it was a good idea. Sammy then reminded Rain of his earlier question about Trina and shared that, based on some overheard information at the parish, Trina had reportedly engaged in black magic in his later years.
Then Rain and the adventure party sing their goodbyes and parting ways. As the party leaves, Rain's expression shifts to a more serious demeanor. He reflects on how Trina Nim apparently became involved with black magic in her later years. Later, while in the laboratory, Rain is reading through a book, searching for any mention of Trina's involvement with black magic, but finds nothing. Rain then recalls a memory from his past life, when he was traveling with the hero party as Lynn. In that memory, he comes across a village that has been consumed by the abyss. While exploring the ruined area, Lynn finds a young Trina, just 7 years old, sitting alone in a half-submerged ruin in a swamp. Upon seeing her, Lynn lights a fire and approaches Trina, who is visibly scared, trembling and closing her eyes. Lynn, in an attempt to comfort her, takes out a bread and offers it, reassuring her that it's not poisoned. However, Trina doesn't take the bread. Lynn, seeing her reluctance, leaves the bread beside her and comments that there's nothing else to offer. After a brief silence, Trina finally speaks, revealing that everyone she knew, her family, friends, and others, were all dead, implying a deep loss and trauma that has affected her. He questions her about the isolation of her village, asking if they had any contact with the outside world. Trina, still traumatized, responds with uncertainty, saying she doesn't know. Lynn stands up, reflecting on the remoteness of the village, realizing that no one, including himself, even knew it existed. He then notes how Trina might be the only person left who remembers the village and its people, expressing the deep loneliness that comes with being forgotten. He asks if she's okay with that, warning that if she dies, the memory of her village would vanish without a trace. Trina, overcome with emotion, replies that she doesn't want that to happen. Lynn then offers her bread again, insisting that she has to survive, not just for herself, but to keep the memory of her village and its people alive. Trina finally accepts the bread, eating while crying, marking a turning point in her resolve. After that day, Trina begins to follow Lynn everywhere. She shows a natural talent for magic, and Lynn teaches her basic survival spells. One day, while drawing a magic circle on a scroll under Lynn's guidance, Trina successfully activates the spell, surprising everyone in the hero party. Despite this, Lynn never intended for Trina to become a great mage. Esther, a member of the hero party, suggests leaving Trina at the next village church for her safety, and Fried agrees, pointing out that traveling with them is too dangerous for a child. Lynn, however, continues to teach Trina magic, not to make her a powerful mage, but to give her the skills to survive on her own after they part ways. The next day, as they travel, Lynn tells her to take everything he teaches seriously, as if her life depends on it, and Trina eagerly agrees, calling him master. Trina learns diligently, without complaints, practicing practical magic meant to help others, such as putting out small fires with water magic and using earth magic to rescue people from falling. These spells were designed for survival and aiding others. Fried, one of Lynn's companions, teasingly asks if Lynn is attracted to Trina, implying that he might be into younger girls. Esther joins in, asking if it's true. Lynn dismisses their comments, telling them to say something that makes sense. Internally, Lynn reflects on why he grew attached to Trina. He wonders if it was out of sympathy or pity, or perhaps because he saw a kindred spirit in her, as her situation mirrored his own past struggles. However, Lynn knew that their time practicing magic together couldn't last forever. Eventually, the day arrived when the hero party had to leave Trina at a village church. Though her expression was dark and filled with sadness, Trina surprised everyone by quietly saying goodbye without causing any fuss. Esther, uncomfortable with the situation, suggests that they leave the village quickly to avoid making things worse emotionally. Lynn agrees, bidding Trina farewell with a simple "take care, Trina." The priest, welcoming her into the church, tries to comfort her by saying that this will be her new home and that the church members will be her new family. He assures her that, though it might feel unfamiliar at first, she will adjust in time. However, Trina refuses to accept this, asserting that the church is not her home and that the priest and others are not her family. She begins preparing a spell, defiantly stating that her only family is her masters, the hero party, particularly Lynn, who taught her everything she knows. A short time after the hero party leaves Trina at the church, another person enters and asks the priest if the admission process for the new girl is complete. To his shock, they find the priest bound by a spell. Panicked, the person suggests organizing a search party, suspecting that Trina is responsible. However, the priest, surprisingly calm, tells him that there's no need for a search party and to simply let Trina go. The priest then recalls the moment Trina cast the spell to bind him. He had demanded an explanation, telling her to release him immediately. Trina, apologizing, explained that she needed to be by her master's side. Reflecting on the incident, the priest muses that youthful determination is admirable. The other person, confused by the priest's calmness, comments on how composed he is despite the situation. Meanwhile, as the hero party distances themselves from the village, Lynn hears someone calling out to him. He turns and is surprised to see Trina running after them, calling him master and asking to go with them. Stunned, Lynn questions how she managed to escape the church. Trina explains that she used the magic Lynn had taught her to escape. Confused but realizing her resolve, Trina bows deeply, pleading with Lynn to let her stay with the party. She promises she won't cause any trouble. Lynn looks to Esther, the leader of the party, for approval before agreeing, though he warns Trina that they won't be able to stay together forever. Suddenly, Lynn becomes stern and asks if Trina hurt anyone with the magic she used to escape. Trina quickly reassures him that she didn't. Satisfied with her answer, Lynn firmly reminds Trina that magic should never be used to harm others. Trina happily agrees to join Lynn and the hero party. As they travel together, she begins to blossom in her magical talents. Although she is somewhat of a troublemaker, her innate abilities are undeniable. The members of the hero party, recognizing her potential, start guiding her in various magical fields. Trina absorbs new spells and skills eagerly, much like a sponge soaking up water. Despite her tendency to get ahead of herself, her skills improve dramatically. Eventually, she reaches a level where she can take on powerful monsters, and the party officially welcomes her as a full member. As a gesture of support, Esther provides Trina with new clothes, which she appreciates greatly. Lynn offers her his stray hat, which she had long admired, but playfully adds that she can only have it if she manages to snatch it from him. As their journey approaches its conclusion, Trina surprises everyone by successfully snatching Lynn's hat, showcasing her abilities and how much she after traveling with hero part. During the climactic final battle against the Abyss, Trina demonstrates how much she has grown, proving to be a valuable asset to the party. However, when the time comes for final battle, Lynn firmly tells her that she will be staying behind. Confused, Trina asks why, insisting that she can fight and handle herself, highlighting her confidence in her abilities. Esther supports Lynn's decision, explaining that both she and Lynn agree it's best not to take Trina with them. Frustrated, Trina turns to her comrades, Freed and Kais, hoping they will speak up in her defense, but they remain silent. Feeling betrayed, she protests that it's unfair to leave her behind after they've been together for so long. Lynn explains that she is still a rookie and that the enemy they face is too dangerous. He reminds her that their journey began with just the four of them and that they need to finish it that way. He reassures her that they will return and promises to teach her more magic when they do. Holding back tears, Trina declares that she will wait for their return. Thus, their adventures with Trina come to an emotional end. In the present, Rain stands up from his seat, troubled by the thought of Trina's past. He struggles to understand why she would get involved with black magic, especially given the suspicious censorship surrounding the books related to her. Suddenly, a system window appears, informing Rain that progress in unique magic research can continue in his current environment, with the progress indicator jumping from 37.9% to 39.9%. Rain smiles upon seeing the increase, reflecting that eliminating the monster rats likely only accounted for a 2% gain, realizing they still have a long way to go in his research. As he continues to peruse the book, Rain stumbles upon a line written by Trina, our coolest master in the world. Reading this brings him joy, and he starts laughing, feeling a connection to her affection and admiration. Meanwhile, two figures in green cloaks arrive at the scene of the defeated Queen Rat Spider. One of them, visibly agitated, expresses frustration, noting that he had hoped the Queen would significantly reduce the number of adventurers in the area and draw out the so-called Golden Children. The second figure remains calm and analytical, pointing out that the residual heat from the fire indicates a powerful explosion, likely resulting from 4-star magic. He deduces that the adventurers Renlum and Bart are responsible for the destruction. The flustered cloaked figure vows to take revenge on them, declaring that he will skin them alive. However, the calm figure cautions against this, explaining that such an act would leave evidence of their presence in the south, potentially alerting the Golden Children to their plans. He emphasizes that they cannot jeopardize their grand scheme for the sake of revenge. In response, the flustered figure argues that they could simply carry out their revenge without getting caught. The calm figure then redirects the conversation, suggesting that there are more pressing matters at hand. When asked what could be more important than revenge, he responds that they should first report to Trina. The next morning, Rain arrives at the local development magic club, where two students greet him at the gate. They express concern for his well-being, noting that he looks tired. Rain reassures them, saying he is fine and not to worry. As they enter the classroom, an announcement is made, urging attendees to take their seats as the number of members has increased significantly, and they might not have enough chairs. The club president, Delon, introduces himself, expressing his surprise and happiness at the high turnout. He explains the club's purpose, to develop magic for local community development. Suddenly, a student walks into the room, catching Delon and the other students off guard. It's Logan, the freshman whom Rain previously defended in one-on-one duel. Logan introduces himself, stating that he looks forward to working with everyone. Delon welcomes him and instructs him to take a seat, as they are about to start. Rain notices that the only empty seat is next to him and shouts out to Logan, surprising him with the suggestion. Delon, maintaining a positive tone, encourages everyone to begin with a fresh mindset. As Logan takes a seat beside Rain, Rain comments on Logan's adherence to promises, to which Logan responds that he is merely following the rules. The class then continues, with Delon explaining various magic circles and their applications. Meanwhile, Rain becomes introspective, reflecting on the existence of dark mages in this era and contemplating whether he would be able to defeat them if they crossed paths again. To assess his current abilities, Rain summons Rudian, triggering a system window that displays his status: magic power, 12,564, and stamina, 311. Rain contemplates his status window, identifying stamina as his primary issue. He recognizes the need to quickly improve his physical condition, but understands that random exercises won't suffice. He wishes he had someone knowledgeable to guide him. His gaze shifts to Logan, who is sitting beside him, suggesting he might be the solution to his dilemma. Later, in the training ground, Logan takes on the role of instructor, energetically guiding Rain through his exercises. Logan instructs Rain to bend his arms so that his chest touches the ground, ensuring he maintains the correct posture. As Rain complies, Logan encourages him. He then challenges Rain to hold the position for 10 seconds, pushing him to focus and build his endurance. Rain, drenched in sweat, finds it increasingly difficult to maintain the strenuous position Logan has imposed on him. He pushed Rain to his physical limits. He insists that Rain hold the position, encouraging him to push through discomfort until he collapses. Logan's commanding voice echoes as he reprimands Rain for not adhering to his instructions, questioning his dedication and seriousness. Despite the grueling nature of the training and his frustration with Logan's harsh methods, Rain is resolute. While he feels a strong urge to retaliate against Logan's relentless commands, he recognizes that enduring this challenging training is essential for building his stamina. Earlier, during a class, Rain had approached Logan for help with physical training. Logan's initial reaction was one of skepticism, and he acknowledges his defeat at the hands of the Rain, questioning the value of learning from someone who has lost. However, Rain quickly dismissed the grudge, recognizing Logan's strength and reputation as a member of a muscle-building expert group. This acknowledgement, rather than boosting Logan's ego, momentarily angers him, as he feels belittled. Realizing the misunderstanding, Rain insists that he's not mocking Logan. He expresses genuine admiration for Logan's skills, noting his surprise at how advanced Logan is for his age. Although flattered, Logan is still reluctant to help due to his insecurities about their previous encounter. Rain stresses the importance of physical strength as a foundation for overall power and emphasizes his desire for proper training from an experienced individual. He makes it clear that he values Logan's expertise. However, despite Rain's earnest appeal, Logan sighs in response. That's true. There's probably no one more qualified in this field than him. But he can't teach him. Please find someone else. Rain begins by expressing his willingness to compensate Logan for assistance, but is quickly interrupted by Logan, who points out the inherent conflict between them. As members of opposing factions, Rain from the magic aristocracy and Logan from one of the 8 schools, they are traditionally viewed as enemies, leading Logan to question the possibility of mutual support. Rain, undeterred, attempts to make a point. He prepares a magic spell, but quickly retracts it, teasingly exclaiming "bang" to confuse Logan. He then explains that had he truly wanted to kill Logan, he would have done so, asserting that they aren't enemies but fellow students engaged in the same pursuit of knowledge and magic. This argument surprises Logan, who reflects on Rain's unexpected perspective, recognizing it as a compelling and bewildering stance for someone from the opposing side. Returning to the present at the training ground, Rain, exhausted from their training session, asks Logan if it's finally over. Logan, noticing Rain's fatigue, expresses his surprise that Rain hasn't given up yet. Rain lies on the ground, making it clear he is serious about his exercise. Logan insists they move on to the next exercise, urging Rain to get up. However, Rain protests, claiming his body isn't responding due to exhaustion. Logan dismisses his complaint, highlighting his inexperience and expressing skepticism about Rain's condition. He adds a layer of concern, suggesting that if they were seen working together, it could provoke backlash from their respective factions, the magic aristocracy and the 8 schools. Rain, frustrated by Logan's insistence on their conflicting loyalties, retorts that they should disregard the opinions of others and suggests that Logan should be more assertive when faced with complaints. This remark brings a smile to Logan's face, leading him to reach down and grab Rain's hand, pulling him up with a newfound camaraderie. Logan acknowledges Rain's point, a shift in their dynamic from adversaries to allies, united by their shared goal of learning magic despite their backgrounds. Meanwhile, outside the training room, Owen, the homeroom professor, stands and smiles as he overhears the conversation between Rain and Logan. His amusement is interrupted when Krista, a fellow student, notices them and shouts, demanding to know what they are doing. She accuses them of fighting, drawing attention to their sweaty appearances. Rain quickly defends himself, stating they are not fighting, and Krista questions what they are doing that would leave them drenched in sweat. Rain replies that they were working out, confirming his earlier statement. Logan gave Rain a bottle and asked him to take it. When Rain questioned what was inside, Logan explained it was purified magic water and magic protein. Krista then expressed her disbelief, questioning Rain's judgment and suggesting he had been influenced by Logan. This accusation flusters Logan, who retorts angrily at Krista for her comments and insists they are having a meaningful time together, defending his friendship with Rain. Krista, feeling frustrated, points out the oddity of Logan's sudden friendliness towards Rain. Just then, Professor Owen approaches, placing a hand on Krista's shoulder to calm her, reminding her to lower her voice. Krista nervously acknowledges the professor, while Logan asks what brings Owen to their training area. Professor Owen responds that he was passing by and saw a bunch of monkeys gathered, implying that the students' antics are somewhat foolish, and mentions he has an announcement to make. Rain asks Professor Owen if he mentioned midterms, and Owen confirms that they will begin in 3 weeks. Rain initially perceives this as good news, believing that midterms are an opportunity to measure his progress. Krista stated that this is Delon University and it's not just a regular exam. Professor Owen elaborated that it's essentially a rite of passage, distinguishing those who will succeed from those who will fail. Delon's educational philosophy is one of infinite competition, meaning that those who do not keep up with their exams will be left behind. This ominous warning emphasizes the high stakes of the upcoming tests and encourages the students to prepare diligently. Later, Rain returns to his room and lies on his bed, contemplating his upcoming responsibilities. He decides to open a book and summon Rudian, possibly seeking guidance or clarity on what he needs to focus on before the exams. However, Rudian begins to behave oddly, prompting Rain to question what is happening. In the next moment, Rain finds himself in a vast, empty space, which surprises him. Confused, he surveys his surroundings and wonders about the situation. Rudian then displays a window that reveals crucial information. Rain has made progress in researching unique magic, showing an increase from 39.9% to 40.0% proficiency. This unexpected advancement shocks Rain, and he questions why this progress is occurring now. A subsequent system window appears, indicating that a new mana circuit has opened. The analysis reveals that a mental barrier, Flowing World Lord, can be deployed within a 20-meter radius of the circuit opener. This barrier significantly enhances the success rate of magic combinations using unique runes and unique mathematical formulas by 33% and amplifies their power by 66%. However, it also indicates that casting this barrier requires 20,000 mana, while Rain currently possesses only 12,564 mana. The window warns that an activation seal is designated for using the mental barrier, Flowing World Lord. In the next moment, the vast space Rain found himself in disappears, and he returns to his room. He nervously looks at Rudian, reflecting on the significance of the mental barrier technique he learned, realizing that his proficiency in unique magic has reached 40%. He recalls that only 2 sages in history were able to use such a secret technique, which fills him with amazement. The following morning, Rain conceals a symbol that appeared on his hand the previous night by wrapping it in cloth. He steps out of his room and makes his way through a crowded street, thinking about his destination, the black market. He notices the pleasant weather and reflects on how hectic the past few days have been, finally feeling he can enjoy a moment of peace. As he continues his thoughts, Rain accidentally bumps into someone and quickly apologizes without checking who it was. The person responds, "It's okay. Between them, it's nothing." Rain discovers it's Bart, along with his adventure party members Sammy and Renlum. Rain greets them, saying, "Hello, it's been a while," to which Renlum humorously points out that they saw each other just a few days ago, noting that it isn't really a long time. Bart playfully grabs Rain and throws him over his shoulder, beginning to carry him away. Rain protests, demanding to be put down, but Renlum chimes in, explaining that university students are always busy, and this is their only way to hang out together. Rain jokes about it being kidnapping, while Sammy mentions that the Adventurer Guild will be awarding commendations for their recent successful rat spider subjugation, emphasizing that the main hero, Rain, cannot be left out of the ceremony. Rain questions whether he really has to receive the commendation, and Sammy insists he shouldn't be so stubborn. He reassures Rain that the ceremony will be brief and that it's beneficial to attend, especially since the commendation is being awarded by the Adventurer Guild's headquarters. At the Adventurer Guild branch, a crowd gathers, recognizing Bart from Black Iron and Renlum from Drunken Archer, alongside Rain, who they note as the eldest son of the Ludwick family. Rain dismisses the attention, asking if it's really something worth fussing over. Renlum explains that Bart is from the prestigious One Saint Seven Sword School, and Renlum himself is from the Drunken Archer School. He praises Rain for defeating a monster that even challenged their skills, calling it an incredible feat. Rain, in his typical manner, downplays their abilities, questioning whether their teachers were simply not that skilled. Renlum reacts angrily, but Bart steps in, explaining that while it might seem that way to Rain, both he and Renlum have fought many battles to earn their silver rank. However, they were humbled by their encounter with the Monster Queen, realizing their limitations. Their conversation is interrupted when a prominent figure arrives, drawing everyone's attention. Bao Saint Raurin, one of the Emperor's 4 martial stars. The crowd whispers excitedly, recognizing him as a powerful figure dispatched by the headquarters. Sammy explains that the Empire selects the best warriors and bestows upon them the prestigious title of the Emperor's 4 martial stars, granting them immense power and honor while they support the Emperor. Raurin's overwhelming presence lives up to his reputation. Renlum becomes visibly nervous, trying to hide his identity. When Sammy asks what's wrong, Raurin recognizes Renlum and teasingly asks what the cutie is doing there, revealing that Renlum left the dojo and dyed his hair. Raurin jokingly suggests that Renlum might be following him and asks whether he got permission from his brother. Embarrassed, Renlum shouts at Raurin to leave. Raurin then turns his attention to Bart, recognizing him as the leader of the party. He praises Bart for being strong enough to defeat the mutant, remarking that Bart must have had a hard time managing Renlum. Bart corrects him, saying that no one takes care of anyone in their party. They compensate for each other's weaknesses. Raurin is impressed by Bart's words, predicting that Bart will reach platinum rank soon. Meanwhile, Rain observes Raurin and notes that he looks oddly similar to Kai's. Raurin then turns to Rain, studying him closely, and remarks that he recognizes his face from somewhere. Saint Raurin receiving a list of party members to be rewarded. As he reviews the names, he notices Rain Ludwick and immediately makes a connection to Rain's lineage, recognizing him as the grandson of the Mage Saint, Skalji. Raurin fondly recalls the older man's influence, mentioning that Skalji had helped him in the past. Despite the initial physical dissimilarity, Raurin points out that Rain's eyes remind him of his grandfather. He mused that if Kai's could speak, he might have a voice and manner similar to Raurin's. His attention is drawn to Raurin's weapon, the white arrow bow, a bow that once belonged to Kai's. This connection stirs an emotional response in Rain, prompting him to mentally address the bow, wondering how it has fared. Unexpectedly, the bow reacts to his unspoken thoughts, trembling slightly. Raurin notices this unusual reaction and, confused by the bow's behavior, grabs it in an attempt to understand what is happening. At that moment, a soldier approached Raurin, reminding him that it was time to begin. Raurin, slightly flustered, launched into a half-hearted speech about the adventurer's bravery during the recent crisis. He cut it short, moving on to the commendation, announcing they did well. In recognition of their adventurous spirit, he is awarding this commendation. The reward is 2 gold coins and 500 contribution points for each party member from the Adventurers Guild. The crowd erupted in cheers as Bart and Renlum became the center of attention. Other adventurer parties surrounded them, offering enticing deals, asking them to join their guilds with promises of ridiculously good offers. Renlum, clearly enjoying the attention, laughed and asked, "What should I do?" Sammy and Rain were taken aback by Renlam's sudden behavior. Sammy noted Renlam's popularity, and Rain, observing Renlam, replied simply, yeah. Sammy questioned Rain about whether he was fine with leaving things after defeating Queen with a scroll. Rain reassured him that it was for the best before leaving. Sammy congratulates Rain on achieving the brass rank, which suggests that Rain is now recognized in a higher status within their world, possibly giving him more notoriety when walking around. Rain, however, hopes to avoid any annoying encounters due to his newfound recognition. As Rain walks away, someone in the crowd takes notice of him and begins to follow. Rain summons Rudian. Then a notification pops up, showing that he needs 20,000 mana to cast a mental barrier, but he only has 12,564 mana available. Rain reflects on his long journey ahead regarding his mana training and how he's close to achieving mastery over the mental barrier, a technique he failed to attain in his past life. Suddenly, the follower shouts out Rain's full name, warning him that he won't reach the black market that way. Surprised, Rain turns to face the person, who introduces himself as a member of the Magic Alliance. The follower explains that the black market is temporarily shut down because its merchants have fled, and he asks for a moment of Rain's time. Later, they sit at a nearby restaurant. The Magic Alliance member orders a chicken skewer set and milk coffee, then turns to Rain, expecting him to share his order. However, Rain, feeling pressed for time, cuts straight to the chase and tells the member he is busy and wants to get to the point of their discussion. A representative from the Magic Alliance casually confirmed the order with the waiter, the person addressing Rain, assuring him that there's no need for caution and that he is not there to question his reasons for heading to the black market. Rain became suspicious, questioning how he knew about his intention to go to the black market. More importantly, Rain senses the person's strong mana, making him wary of the individual's abilities. Interrupting Rain's thoughts, the man introduces himself as Doran Slade, an agent working in the Special Affairs Department of the Magic Alliance. To verify his identity, Doran shows Rain a pocket watch that bears the Magic Alliance's insignia, which Rain interprets as a form of identification. Doran tries to establish a connection by reminiscing about his time as the secretary for the student council when Rain's father was president, recalling how enjoyable those times were. Rain, unaffected, asks directly what that had to do with him. Doran explains that he's not trying to be suspicious and emphasizes that he's on Rain's side, calling him Your Honor out of respect. Doran then reveals the real reason for his approach, to confirm a few things. Specifically, he wants to know if it was truly Rain who cast the magic that defeated the Mutant Queen. Doran raises several points. There's no record of Bart's party purchasing magic from any shop recently. No one has sold such powerful fire magic scrolls, and there hasn't been a 4-star mage capable of producing such scrolls in the past decade. He even checked with Lord Skalji Ludwick to see if he had made anything for Rain's self-defense, but that was not the case. With all these factors in mind, Doran concludes there's only one possible explanation, that Rain was the one who cast the spell himself. Rain admitted he wasn't trying to hide it, but expressed that he had some concerns. Doran Slade inquired whether he was referring to the Black Magician, prompting Rain to wonder whether Slade is genuinely seeking information or has ulterior motives. His thought is abruptly interrupted when a waiter arrives with chicken skewers, prompting Doran to express his approval and inquire whether the dish was meant for 1 or 2 people. The waiter mistakenly assumed that the order was for both patrons and offers to take 1 skewer back, but Doran insists that he can handle the entire portion himself. As Rain prepares to leave the conversation, Doran shifts the focus back to business. He proposes a collaboration with the Special Affairs Department of the Magic Alliance, directly addressing Rain by name and title. Rain, still in university, hesitates, prompting Doran to clarify that he is not being asked to join immediately, but rather after his graduation. Doran Slade expressed interest in having the Rain join their team after graduation. He noted that the Rain's senior, Kevin, is still healthy, indicating that the inheritance of the family estate is not a pressing concern. Slade suggested that the listener could contribute to fighting magical crimes and emphasized that this role would grant them the authority to independently investigate cases of black magic. He highlighted that the Special Affairs Department is an excellent opportunity for career advancement, making it a desirable path for the Rain. Doran cleverly reminds Rain that his senior, Kevin, is in good health, suggesting that the inheritance of the family estate is still a distant concern. Doran entices Rain with the offer of combating magical crimes and gaining the authority to investigate black magic cases independently. He promotes the Special Affairs Department as a prime opportunity for building a successful career. However, Rain's response is dismissive. He asserts that he is not interested and intends to leave. Doran presses on, warning that the Black Church is becoming increasingly active and that the higher-ups in the Magic Alliance remain complacent, blissfully unaware of the looming threat. He expresses a desire to prepare for an inevitable crisis, underscoring the urgency of the situation. Rain, while expressing a vague willingness to consider Doran's proposal, remains skeptical and internally grapples with the implication of having to fight against dark forces once again in this life. As Rain departs, Doran offers practical advice about sourcing items from the black market, suggesting that Rain check out the VIP escort missions at the Adventurers Guild after midterms during the holiday break. As Rain turns away without a word, he exits the scene, leaving behind a lingering tension. Almost immediately, Tyranted from Special Affairs approaches Doran Slade, inquiring if he was just rejected by Rain. She expresses disbelief at Doran's choice to pursue Rain, who has earned a reputation as a disaster prodigy, and questions the logic behind targeting someone from the so-called golden generation of first-year students at Delon. Doran Slade acknowledges that Rain doesn't quite seem to fit the mold of the golden generation. Tyranted presses for more details, asking why Doran believes this. Doran speculates that Rain has not had any interactions with Trina. He suggests that they should broaden their search for other candidates who might fit their criteria. Tyranted challenges Doran's theory, questioning whether any of the new Delon students would have had contact with Trina at all. Doran counters that, based on his intuition, he suspects that there might indeed be someone with a past connection to Trina, possibly even before they entered the school. This leads him to consider investigating their backgrounds. As their conversation unfolds, Doran reflects internally on the audacity of anyone claiming to belong to the golden generation, particularly in light of Rain's immense potential. He acknowledges the influence of his senior, Kevin, who has mentored Rain, and recognizes the formidable challenge posed by Rain's capabilities. He has never felt so intimidated by someone's potential before. Rain expresses disappointment, stating he couldn't get the book he was after. Junior librarian Karen reassures him, admitting it was a mistake on her part and expressing relief that he is safe. Rain laughs, lightening the mood, and inquires whether a peculiar man, one who wears a hat and has a constant grin, has visited the library. Karen responds that she hasn't seen anyone like that. However, she recalls that someone from the Special Operations Division of the Magic Alliance did stop by to reminisce with the first-class librarians he knew, although she didn't see him and can't describe his appearance. With this new piece of information, Rain acknowledges it and decides it's time to return to his dormitory, thanking Karen again for her help. Karen downplays her contribution, insisting it wasn't worthy of being called information. Later, upon arriving at his dormitory, Rain reflects on the man's visit, considering the implications of his not having met Karen face-to-face. He wonders who the man could have spoken to about the black market, further deepening the mystery surrounding this individual. As he approaches his door, Rain notices 2 wooden boxes lying outside and remarks that they have arrived just in time. He brings the boxes inside, excitedly unpacking them to reveal 2 enormous white pearls. He marvels at their size and feels satisfied with his purchase, noting that he bought the most expensive and best quality pearls. Rain realizes that with these spirit pearls, he can infuse sufficient magic power to create a mental barrier. Placing one hand on each pearl, he assesses his current magic power, calculating it to be around 12,000. He knows that to cast the mental barrier effectively, he requires approximately 20,000 magic power. Thus, he plans to store 8,000 magic power within the pearls for use during the casting. Rain begins the process of infusing mana into the pearls, focusing intently as he channels his magic power into them. After some time, he withdraws his hands, noting the pearls glowing with a blue hue. He thinks to himself that the infusion of magic power is complete and that all he needs to do now is wait for the mana to stabilize. As he waits, the pearls gradually stabilize, allowing him to proceed with the next step of his process, using the mental construct known as Flowing World Lord. As he activates this construct, a rapid flow of mana occurs, causing the pearls to creak under the pressure. The symbol of the mental barrier begins to glow, imprinted on his hand. However, Rain is soon overwhelmed, coughing up blood, and collapses to the ground, leading him to suspect that he has failed in his attempt. Despite the initial setback, the symbol continues to shine, and 4 distinct magic circles manifest on the ground around him. Each circle represents a different aspect of his magic. The first, U, signifies the quality of flow. The second, Rio, pertains to the quality of measuring. The third, John, relates to the quality of enhancing. And the fourth, Se, symbolizes the quality of the world. As Rain observes the magic circles, he experiences a profound sensation. He realizes that the mismatched parts of his magic are aligning perfectly one by one. In that moment, he recognizes that the magic circle forming in his hand is exactly what he had envisioned. He thinks, this magic circle is perfect. The mental barrier is like a mirror reflecting the caster's mind. However, the effort proves to be too much, and he collapses to the ground. While lying there, Rain recalls the words of the second sage, Krista Warden, who spoke about the connection between the thirst for truth and the mental image. He now understands that the construct U, flowing world lord, doesn't impart new knowledge but rather compensates for his existing inadequacies in technique and understanding. This revelation aligns perfectly with his learning methods and empowers him to master magic through self-study, eliminating the need for formal instruction. Rain realizes he has taken another significant step toward achieving the status of a 7-star sage. In the Delon conference room, a gathering of university professors convenes to discuss the academic schedule. Chancellor Madelia Page initiates the meeting by inquiring whether the graduation academic schedule has been finalized. Professor Kyle confirms that with the field training now dispatched, the focus for the upcoming week can shift to the first-year students as per usual. Madelia acknowledges that this year's first-year class appears to be particularly talented, stirring curiosity among the faculty about how their performance will unfold. Professor Owen expresses his anticipation, while Professor Thean shares his eagerness to see the outcomes of the students' efforts. Professor Ivan adds to the discussion by remarking on the excitement surrounding a certain genius student rumored to have hidden his talent. His comment, however, provokes a visible reaction from Professor Ellen, who seems upset by the implication and quickly mutters that one never knows what could happen. In an attempt to diffuse the tension, Professor Caroline urges Ellen to remain calm, suggesting that Ivan's comment was not meant maliciously. Yet, Ellen directs her frustration toward Madelia, noting her relaxed demeanor and suggesting that the next student to face scrutiny might be the genius girl under Madelia's mentorship, implying that she could face a challenging situation similar to Logan. A lighthearted comment from another professor about looking forward to the unfolding events adds to the banter in the room. Madelia reflects on her student Kanisa, considering how things might have turned out differently had the original plan been followed. She reminisces that Kanisa, as the heir of the Page family, would have been the student representative of Delon, forming the core of the Golden Generation. Her thoughts are interrupted by a senior professor, who prompts her to act swiftly and ensure that the students are informed about the upcoming exams. Madelia acknowledges this urgency and announces that the midterm exams will commence today, signaling a significant turning point in the academic year for the students at Delon. Well, guys, that's the end of the video. If you like this video, comment next part in the comment section. Also, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and like the video. Thank you for watching.